I don't know why I screamed. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm Ryan Phantom. Take a fucking sip, babe. If you're one of the many people in my YouTube comments saying, Ryan, did you know Hive Swap 2 is coming? Yes! Please stop writing that! I own a Twitter! Thank you! No, it's fine, but I did get a lot of people on day one saying, Ryan, did you know Hive Swap 2's coming out? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't reply to any of them, but inside it was like, yeah, I own a computer. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and play some Distantquest today. If you don't know what Distantquest is, I will tell you when we get it up. It is very cold in my basement. My nose is very dry. That's probably why I sound a little different. Oh. Distantquest is trying... What? Oh my god, Distantquest has blocked... Hold on, Avast has blocked Distantquest. Hold on, I'm gonna try... What's that? I'm gonna try reloading it. What? Okay, I launched this before the stream and this didn't happen. So, I'm assuming the file, what it's saying is we've just protected your file. Distantquest is trying to change or delete log.txt. And I'm assuming that's its file. Because that wasn't there. And also, I know the Distantquest developers didn't put a virus in their fucking game. Alright, I allowed it. There we go. Hold on, let me relaunch it one more time then. There we go. What it did was it created a file in its own folder on my desktop. And I guess it's a protected desktop file for some reason. Its own file. Alright, give me a minute. What is this? I gotta do some cleanup. What is this? Oh, no. Don't need that. Everything's kind of a mess. I really gotta go through and... Oh! It's already capturing it. Perfect. I don't know why the chat's on that side of the screen. I'm assuming for a good reason. So maybe I'll keep it over there. Yo, 69, dude. Yo, 69, dude. Nice. So, I played this. I played Volume 1 and 2 long time ago. Like, before finishing Persona 3. I played this, and I played, Befriendus. Which, Befriendus, I'm still waiting on, the next volumes of that. So, that'll be fun once that's out. But that game's about ancestors, and this one is about the, pre-Scratch ancestors. Post-Scratch? You guys know Homestuck better than I do. Pre-Scratch or post-Scratch? Post-Scratch? This is the ancestors, not the Dancestors. No, Britt, they're the same people. They're the same. It's just that it's pre-Scratch and post-Scratch. Yeah, no, they're the same people, Britt. Homestuck sucks. I recently learned that as well. They're the Jesus people. Yes, I know that. Alternia is the alternate before. Everything sucks. Alright. Alright. Here we go. We already... What I was going to say is that last time I played these three. So I already I already befriended... Well, Roddy was already my friend. I already befriended the Dolorosa. And I befriended the Signless. So, next up is actually the psionic. So, this ought to be fun. Before us because they came before. Yes. I hate I hate this comic. All right, let's see. Which one? I think it's this one. Homicide. Confined spaces talking about death and mortality, blood, and heights. Oh, I don't like heights. That's one thing I don't really like. Uh-oh. It's alright, I'll live. Alright. Here we go. Don't put me in a situation. Oh, right. Where's the... I can't think of... am I thinking of the right game? No, I might not be. Alright. Content. Oh, it gave me the content warning anyways. Thank you. Here we go. I haven't been here in a while. The pony is the other game. No, I'm not thinking of the pony, but yes, thanks. I was just talking to Gio the other day on Twitter, who's responsible for the Maple Hoof arc of Befriend Us. Alright. You don't know where you are. Which you can't say at this point is anything new, of course, but this isn't quite the Alternia you're used to. The town you're aimlessly walking around makes you feel like you've been thrown into the pages of a history textbook and told to go absolutely buck wild. This is supposed to be the story of the Signless, and Aradia would tell you if you've gone off course, wouldn't she? But she wouldn't, because you remember you got all split up and that makes you feel even smaller. The world around you even bigger. Still, you call out her name. Aradia? Are you there? So, you're completely alone. What is this music? It's pretty good. This reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. It's pretty good. It's dark. No light pours from the high windows surrounding you. Surprisingly, considering this is a nocturnal race and all, the street seems pretty deserted. Your mind supplies for you a lonely tumbleweed gliding against the paved road. And then you see it. Friendship. Well, no, not friendship exactly. But perhaps a locale where friendship can take place. By the way, how's the audio? I'm assuming it's pretty good. A little loud? Oh, okay. I'll turn down the audio a little. Okay, you can already make out uncomfortable pairs of horns packed inside. You can already tell whatever's going on is a major function, a booling location, if you will. Parties. You're a natural at parties. You can't hear any music, but they might just be setting up still. You mosey on up to this here event and nudge yourself past the group of trolls that were standing outside the door with a couple sorries and thank yous. Inside, it seems to be some kind of alien bar establishment. There are trolls everywhere, so much so you can't take another step forward without walking right into someone's back. They're not talking to each other, though. In normal party hangout fashion, just staring straight forward. Sometimes one whispering to another next to them in hushed voices, their attention thoroughly diverted to something you can't make out through all the bodies. So maybe this is more of a troll concert event kind of deal? Yeah, we're not good with parties. Again, no biggie for you. Been there, done that with Marvis. You know how to handle yourself. You're just glad you're not alone anymore, and who knows? Maybe one of these trolls is looking for a new squad member to hang out with after the... And then you hear a very, very familiar voice. You nudge your way to the outskirts of the room to get a better view, and that's when you see him. Oh, shit! First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to hear me speak. I know that sounds rehearsed, or maybe expected for me to say, but I genuinely can't tell you enough of how much being here matters. Tonight, you made the conscious decision to listen to a troll who, for all legal purposes, shouldn't be left breathing. And most importantly, you made the conscious decision to be part of a community. The Signless. That's your buddy. You enthusiastically wave to him from your place in the audience, but he must not see you because his focus, his grave, important stare, doesn't break for a second. You can see now that someone stands in the background of him, back to the wall in a ridiculous yellow getup. His eyes, a pupilless red and blue, seems very official and intimidating, arms crossed in front of him. His face an unreadable wall of concentration. Occasionally, he turns his head this way and that, as if scanning for some invisible threat. Is this one of the Clade members, the Dolorosa and the Signless we're talking about? Wow. You eat up the scene around you and you just can't get over the fact that you're actually at a real sermon. You knew the Signless mentioned preaching, but you didn't know you'd be able to see him in action. The room feels electric. If you'd all please, take a look around the room at who's surrounding you right now. Without even noticing, you find yourself glancing around too, like everyone else, to your right and your left. Now, me and my Clade, we can't stay here for long. That would be needlessly endangering all of you. But the truths I speak tonight, the questions I raise, those don't stop the moment I'm gone. I try to speak not for self-validation or to give myself some sort of reputation, but instead to enable all of you to find those truths yourself. Pose your own questions and help build each other up. Those trolls you looked in the eyes tonight, if you see them struggling, speak out, take action, become each other's pillars. The Empress wants each of you, no matter your blood color, to feel like the rest of the world is against you. Yo, is that big zebra back there? I think it is. Come to think of it, I think it is. Shit. I think a lot of these trolls might be. Prove her wrong. Build a family out of her village. Build a thing that will long outlast something as minuscule as my presence. Because I'm telling you right now, whatever you create together will be far more powerful than just me or my words. Damn, bars. You hope he sticks around after so you can say hi and also reiterate to him the exact level of bars he just reached. You notice behind him, the yellow blood seems to be staring at you? Menacingly. You can't say for certain, with his eyes and all. But you can't shake the feeling you're being assessed somehow. The Signless starts speaking again, and you're trying to focus, you really are. But now you're certain that the troll has not moved his eyes from you the entire time. Fuck. How do you make yourself look less conspicuous? Maybe a chill little whistling moment. No one looks conspicuous when they're whistling. Except, you remember, you're in the middle of a sermon, and whistling would be distracting. So instead, you mime whistle, making no actual noise, but still upping your stealth buff. You cross your arms and look up at the ceiling for good measure. Alright, so that definitely did not work, because now you could see him quietly leave his place from behind the Signless and hug the edge of the crowd to approach you without making a scene. Well... He stands tall above you, and without saying a word, he points to himself, and then you, and then a door a couple paces away. You know that means he wants you to follow. You gulp for air. You're plunged into a dark storage room, only a bit larger than a closet, the door shut behind you. He gestures to a chair in the middle and you sit. Without the glow of the bar, you can't make any of his features out anymore. You feel as if you're in some type of crime noir film interrogation scene. Alright, let's get this show on the road. So, you may be wondering, what does this incredibly cool and also badass looking individual want from me? You nod your head vigorously, cool and also badass, yes. Well, I'll tell you. When I saw you in the audience, I felt this weird as fuck kind of cosmic force come over me, telling me I needed to pay attention to you, communicate with you, in some long time consuming social exchange. He dramatically flicks the lights on. Which is obvious, my gut telling me you're an Imperial spy. Boom, another case closed. Not again. You begin to complain to yourself, man, what is it with this family and assuming you're a government plant? But then you think about the fact that that implies they've had people double-cross them before, and that just makes you depressed. So you don't air your frustration. You also get the feeling that you really, really shouldn't be able to remember that. But with all the time fuckery you've realized you'd be able to do in the past so often, you elect not to think about that too much. What, you have no defense? Just as I suspected. No, wait. You do have a defense. The Silas is your friend. You guys hung out and he made you coffee and said a bunch of big words to you. Well, no offense, but you look really weird. I would even say government-engineered spy level weird. But it does sound very on brand for a sign to befriend a small weird person and then invite them over to info dump at them. Exactly! And you're sure the Silas could back your claim up. Thank you very much, Mr... Wait, did he ever give you his name? He makes a face at that. The fuck? Of course not. Sorry, but that's like 10th base for me. Only 3 trolls on this whole planet know my hatch name, and I'd like to keep it that way. Right, okay. Could you have... What did the Dolorosa call it? A title? Could you have his title, then? There you go. I'm the Psionic. He looks like he's deliberating something for a second, and then adds... I'm sorry about the whole bringing you into a broom closet and accusing you of being an imperialist thing. Alright, Johnny Tuna. I'm gonna call you... I think your name is Johnny Tuna. It's no sweat. Get that all the time, actually. But, wait, like, psionic? Isn't that a whole subclass of people here? Well, yeah, I mean, not to make a big deal out of it or anything, but I'm the best that there ever was, so... There he is. He gives you a wink and lets red and blue sparks flare around him for a second for emphasis. You can tell he's having a lot of fun showing off. That's the psionic to you, oh fuck. He drops the energy flying around him and as his gaze shifts from the door. From you to the door to the window behind you. So, it seems we have been put in a situation. What do you mean by a situation? Wordlessly, he picks you up by the waist and lifts you so you're right height to peek out the closet door's window, and nothing seems to be the matter. There's a couple of heads pressed up against the door in an overwhelming sea of trolls you only recently got out of. He points against the glass. See that? In the rear cranny? One of the silhouettes closest to the door. In one of the silhouettes closest to the door. I can't read today. I'm not awake enough. You can make out a bright red earpiece peeking out ever so slightly from behind their hair. A couple of seconds, they press a claw to it, only to put their hand back down moments after. It's Imperial tech. Oh boy. Oh boy is right. He gently puts you back down on the floor and then exasperatedly paces the extremely cramped room for a minute before saying... So, in summary, I needlessly accused you of being a plant, while the real plant was outside the store the entire time. Very epic of me. Okay, I need to figure out a way to deal with this, so everything doesn't go to shit in the next 2 seconds. Okay, oh, but you want to help figure it out with him too. You're an extremely useful partner in crime. He gives you a once-over. I don't know. You need to prove you're a great ally to have on his side. Alright. Save the game. Oh! It remembered my saves. It must have put the game into its own separate folder when I installed it. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Alright, what should we do? Should we hit the floor and show off your physical prowess by doing like 200 push-ups or something? Or we'll take no for an answer, cross your arms and get your game face on. Push-ups, obviously. Fritz says push-ups. Death end. Let the bodies hit the floor. Push-ups, okay. So, perhaps you end up going in for the first push-up and fall flat on your face a little bit. I mean, it's not like you've had ample time to hit the gym in between having winged alien girls throw you into time portals. But that won't stop you. You get back into your push-up power stance and go for the second one, and no, that's not happening. Your elbows bend at nearly undetectable rate. Getting up, you try to play it off like you just achieved a great athletic feat and dust off your hands for emphasis. Confidence is key, right? Maybe not. Sai looks very unimpressed. Look, kid, this could get dangerous, and you're already a very breakable creature. Compared to, like, an actual troll, I mean, I don't know if that's just the norm for your species. I don't want to assume. Wait, are you even part of a species, or are you just vibing? Right. You didn't explain the whole you existing thing. You're an alien. Oh, dope. Anyway, it might not be smart for you to face down troll cops just yet. But you still want to be included in the plan. Surely he could think of something for you to do to be useful. Alright. Rough draft of the plan so far. Let me know your thoughts. So, I go out there and deal with the Fed and basically fix everything super effectively and nothing else goes wrong. You put your hand to your chin in thoughtful-looking deliberation. Very well thought out and thorough start to the plan. You like his angle, but where do you fit in? Right, I was just about to get to that part. You will be tasked with covertly and highly important responsibility of guarding this closet, which I have now given the moniker Essential Plan Meeting Room. Honestly, you'll take it. You know he's just trying to keep you safe, and it feels nice to know you've got a role in everything. After I've executed the first part of the plan, I'll rendezvous at an Essential Plan Meeting Room so we can go over the mission's success and failures, and then we can get back to the sermon. I shouldn't be gone for more than half an hour tops. Sound okay? You give him a little salute to show your unwavering loyalty, which he smiles at fondly. You can nearly taste the friendship of it all. And then he's gone. He opens the door and, peeking on your tiptoes through the window, you can see him say something to the troll and then follows him out of sight. So you wait. You take your duties very seriously, standing parallel to the door with your back against the cupboard shelf in a composed kind of way, which you hope will read as intimidating if anyone tries to lay siege on the Essential Plan Meeting Room. Time passes at a speed you nearly can't gauge at all for a while there, but you swear it's been at least half an hour. You're making that up, but it feels like the right ballpark. He could have just ran into some complications. That's why he's late. But the thought of what those complications might entail makes your stomach twist with worry. After a while longer, you peek out the window again. As the sermons progress, the crowd seems to have gotten even tighter, but there's still no sign of Sai or the other troll in sight. You briefly think about scratching tally marks along the wall, but that seems a bit dramatic. Another eternity goes by at this point. You're on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Yeah, he didn't seem too keen on you actually being out in the field calling an imperialist. But he wasn't a dick about it. You know he'd check in with you when the job was done. From outside the door, you can't hear the silence's words anymore, just quiet. For the second time tonight, you feel hopelessly alone. Sai doesn't come back. From somewhere deep and unexplainable in your heart, you get the feeling that a terrible, terrible thing has happened. Oh no! Closet time. He dead! Oh, duh. We have a save. He dead! Won't take no for an answer. Cross your arms and get your game face on. Whoops. You show him that you'll be fazed by nothing, that you can fell every foe in your path. You try to mimic the mirror image of the way you saw him stand behind the signless, all composed, emitting the strongest, just try and fuck with me energy you can muster. The psionic appreciates that, giving you an approving grin. Yeah, fuck it, why not? You can help. Actually, it's good you offered, because this part of this I genuinely do not know if I'll be able to pull off alone. Oh? An important special task just for you? Do go on. So, I'm gonna need you to get this motherfucker out of the building so that I can, de-escalate the situation in a remote location. See, now, if I just go out there metaphorically guns blazing and tell them to catch me outside, Sign's gonna know something's up. He's in the middle of a sermon that actually looks like it's going well. The last thing I need is to be worrying over the bullshit I get myself into. But if you two make up some story to the Fed to get them to follow you out the back entrance into the alley, you can keep a low profile and everyone's happy. Following him so far. But also, he shouldn't say what he does is BS. He's trying to protect your family, and that's very important. Are you trying to get deep with me? His face is screaming. You better damn not be. You don't say anything. Great. Glad we're on the same page. Moving on. I'm gonna leave right now out the front door, and you're gonna have to wait a couple minutes after me to leave so it doesn't look as conspicuous as busting out of here at the same time. Are you ready? You nod determinedly, your face grave. Sick. Sai leaves. You remember to count out a minute or two before you open the door to yourself, and fuck, you just remembered you did not plan out what you're gonna say to this troll. Well, if there's one thing you're good at, it's winging it. You shove yourself a little to the right in the crowd so it looks like you're walking over to approach them and didn't just magically appear behind them. You mock looking around in a distressed way, as if desperately searching for anyone who can help. You orchestrate bumping into them, and then tugging on the sleeve of their blouse. Indigo eyes stare you down. There we go. You speak only a little above a whisper, so as not to disrupt the sermon. Signless's clear voice drowning you out to anyone that wasn't directly next to you. Your cat, you mean your Lucis, got stuck in a tree. An alley tree. In the alley. Would they please help a poor deformed patrol out? The Indigo Blood seems very, very unpleased by that. Unfazed by that, sorry. Can't let Sai down. Also, Troll Danny DeVito's out there and he's doing signatures. The Indigo Blood looks at you. And then at the Signless, and then back at you, sighs in agreement. Take their hand and squeeze your way past the sea of trolls, leading the way to the back exit. You open the door and usher them down the steps and... slam. Red and blue flares, and we got a Troll Danny DeVito fan here. Slam. Red and blue flares and hugs the Indigo Blood in a... hugs the Indigo Blood in a grip of pure energy, throwing them against the brick wall and pinning them there, several feet above the ground. It happened so fast. You fucked with the wrong family. He nearly spits out the words. So much for de-escalating the situation. The scene is a lot to take in. You remember your confrontation with a High Blood when you were hanging out with the Signless. I guess you expected a lot more talking, and less slamming and death beams. You're frozen on the steps. The Indigo Blood tries to test their movement in a psionic hold, but everything below their neck seems practically paralyzed with how hard they're being held down. What the fuck is this? When Sai seems completely unfazed by their writhing and protest, they continue. I was just trying to listen to the sermon. I'm a follower and I won't be treated like this, just because I'm a High Blood. Your movement, our movement, is about pacifism and peace, is it not? What would your preacher say about this? They struggle against the restraint one more time for emphasis. Sai looks like he's about to laugh in the midst of his anger, and with his Sai circling around him, dancing off his limbs and making the air feel tangible with energy, you have to admit, it's a terrifying sight. You're right. No, you're right. It is. Pacifism and peace, etc., etc. My preacher would tell you as much. Talk to you real nice and slow so you understand. Try to worm his way into your head with all his pretty words and make you see straight. That's what he did to me. But I'm not my preacher. I'm not my preacher, and unluckily for you, I know you're bullshitting me. With an audible dislodging sound and a sharp cry of pain, he rips the earpiece out of his Sai, and... is that physically attached to their ear? That can't feel too great. Sai hovers the bright red piece in front of their face for emphasis. So please, go on talking about how it's our movement when you've had an Imperial tech in your ear cranny the entire night. I'm waiting. The Indigo Blood drops the act and looks down at Sai with cool contempt. They try to spit on the ground for emphasis, but it just hits the energy field and they're surrounded by sizzles. They're surrounded by it sizzles into oblivion. That truly was not the move, as Sai just makes his hold tighter and more unforgiving. The red and blue surrounding him, both pulsating and getting even more vivid. It's red versus... Okay. It sends some kind of primal fear into the indigo blood. Only then do they continue speaking. I knew you were going to react to that, Britt. Did you know memory is the key, Britt? Hey, easy. Think about what my death would bring. What would it say? About your movement's kindness. Is it really worth it? Sai doesn't falter for a second. Q. So what do you suppose I do then? Pat you on the back and let you go? Trust the goodness in your heart and love will prevail all? And then what do? You run back to your empire. Tell them about the village. Record the shape of every sign you know in that room tonight. The hatch names of every troll that gave us shelter. Exact location of my choice. I know you have a superiority complex, but you did not think his psionics would get any stronger, but whoops, there it goes, they just did. If you had to guess, you would say this high blood is about 2 seconds from being reduced to a pile of ash. I'm not fucking stupid. You want to witness a death tonight? You... Alright. Are we gonna yell at him to stop? Bars? Well, don't forget, we should try to get the bad ending first. So think about that. We should try to get the bad ending first. So if we want to try to get the bad ending first, which one should I pick? Alright. Will we yell at him to stop? You remember what you learned from your time at the Signless. Surely there must be a way to get out of this with both parties unharmed. And the movement's discretion kept, isn't there? So you yell, stop! And then a little quieter and more comforting. Wait, let's think about this. Remember when we were talking just a few seconds ago? Yeah, let's go back to that. Talking, conversation. Take a deep breath, maybe. With your voice, Sai lets a shaky breath out. You didn't realize how tightly he was wound until he exhaled. Damn, can't believe he actually listened to you. The indigo blood is still trapped against the wall, but it's more of a calmer hold and less than I'm about to vaporize you in the next second time. Good, good. You're getting somewhere. Okay, think. What would the Signless you now? WWTSD, if you will. You're about to open your mouth again, because so far that's gotten you out of most things, when suddenly a sharp and loud noise sounds from what must be a couple blocks away from you. It's nothing, but the disruption is sudden and unexpected enough that every muscle inside its body tenses right back up. In a fraction of the moment, the psionics around both of them flare into a sea of blinding light. You shut your eyes tight at the sight of it, as if looking at it could hurt you. You hear a kind of zapping sound and every hair in your body sticks straight up. A metallic taste is thick on your tongue. A scream gets cut short. And when you finally open your eyes again, the troll isn't against the wall anymore. In fact, the troll isn't anywhere. For a moment you panic, thinking they got away. When you look down, you see a pile of charred bones where they were once hovering. Well, take a look at Sai to assess the damage. The psionics aren't surrounding him anymore. His posture achingly still, feet planted firmly on the floor. You can see his chest rise and fall with every heavy breath. He's not looking at you, or anything else around him, just staring straight ahead. Maybe you should go up to him? Place a caring hand on his shoulder to help him calm down? You're really trying to find somebody to salvage the situation and get those friendship vibes rolling. Yeah, okay, not one of your smartest plans. He nearly jumps out of his own skin as you try to reach to comfort him, hisses and backs away suddenly. The fuck? Get away from me! You shrink into yourself. Why does everything you do end up making things worse? You take your outstretched hand and pull back to yourself, cradling it in your other, suddenly not knowing what to do with yourself. Sai looks back at you and sighs. Okay, I didn't mean to snap at you just then, honest. It's just if you touch me right now, I don't know if you'd be safe. I could just fucking electrocute you on the spot or some shit. I don't know how your feeble creature body would react to it. I mean, no offense. By the way, this might not be the best time to be asking this, but what are you? No judgment or anything. You thought he'd never ask. You tell me you're an alien. My voice. My good voice. Oh, dope. Anyway, so, addressing the situation at hand, I really did just commit murder right then, so I completely understand if you want to cut your losses and scram before you get involved any further. You shake your head and plant your feet firmly on the floor. You have to be a part of this plan, and you're not going to just bail when shit gets real. You're going to see it to the end. Damn, thanks. I appreciate it. You want to say, that's what friends are for, right? But that might be pushing the friendship bill a little too soon. Instead, you tell him no worries. You like being his partner in crime. Is there anything you can do to help? Right. New plan. So, first course of action, let's split up and check the alley to make sure no one saw shit. Understood. You diligently walk the opposite way from Sai and peek your head around the corner of the alley, looking this way and that. The streets are still as a ghost town. There's no one around as far as you can see. You meet him back at the bone pile and relay your findings. Epic. I think that means we're in the clear on that front. Something on the floor catches your eye, and while crouching down to pick it up, you realize it was the earpiece from before. There are wires haphazardly sticking out from where it was yanked, and you notice they look a little less like actual wires and more like squirming little invertebrae. It makes you shiver at the alienness. Technology really shouldn't be alive like that. We are just close-minded, but you hand over to Sai because you assume he's way better at understanding how to handle it. He pockets it with a nod, and suddenly his gaze turns downward. Next order of business, the bones. You look down at the pile next to your feet. Yeah, the bones are going to be an issue. I'm going to take them somewhere far out and bury them for thoroughness' sake. I don't want anyone here getting blamed for something that was my fault to begin with. I mean, even allowing us to be here is enough trouble to put on them already. Let Aradia have them. Yes, I agree. Roger that. You pick up a bone off the floor and securely cradle it in your arms so Sai sees that you're ready to go. He smiles at you amusedly. You really want to help with this part too? Of course, till the end, remember? So he lets you carry that bone, and effortlessly picks up the rest with his sigh. You're sure they could have all fit into his arms, but he always looks like he really enjoys using his power at any kids he gets. Just because he can. I like how we're carrying one bone. You don't want to be nosy, but as you guys trace the outskirts of town, making sure you stay unseen, you find yourself asking why he does that. He obviously seems really proud. Bone. You're telling me if you were hatched with incredibly badass mind powers, you wouldn't spend every waking moment wanting to show that off? Oh, okay. Points were made. The town around you fades into the background as the both of you reach the edge of the forest. There's a marked path in front of you, but Sai elects to lead you both through the thickest of trees instead, away from any potential passerby. I don't know. It makes me feel good to know I can do whatever I want with my Sai, and no one will say anything about it. Even if it's something as technically useless as carrying around a bunch of bones. It's something that's mine. So, the whole killing people with Sai thing, does that... You really don't know how to phrase this correctly. Does that happen, like, often, or... His face gets gravely serious. Only to protect others. Or out of self-defense. It's not like I wake up in the evening going, gee, who am I? I'm going to call tonight or anything. But yeah, sometimes shit happens. The Signless is okay with that? I hate to be predictable, once again, I love another yellow blood. The thing about this is that we have no idea what their personality is like, really, in canon. So, let's just go with this. Let's just assume this is what he's like. Sure know how to pick light travel conversation topics. Oh boy, that came out all wrong, didn't it? You didn't mean to overstep, really. Don't worry, I'm just fucking with you. Gaber. Considering you're my co-conspirator in high-blood assassinations, now I feel like you have the right to pry a little. Hehe, nosy rights. Hehe, nosy rights. You think to yourself all you can do with this newfound power, the friendship crafting possibilities. Sign's not my keeper. He understands I'm my own troll, and whatever decisions I make are on me. And he trusts I know to do the right thing. But what's right for me and what's right for him don't line up perfectly. Sign thinks everyone has a potential for good. I don't know if I can let myself agree with that. Not all the time, but I'd really like to be proven wrong. Anyways, yeah. Turns out, morality is the fuck sometimes. But it's not like he'd be able to do anything like that himself. Hurting anybody, I mean. Even if it was necessary. If it meant he'd end up on the other end of the culling fork. I love him, but his push is kind of broken that way. You get that. From what you've seen of the Signless, at least, he definitely seems to have much less of penchant for violence than your average Elturnian. Right? It's weird. But also really sweet. Wow, I got extremely affectionate just then. My apologies. Cringe alert! Cringe alert! No! No cringe alert! Not to gossip or anything, but retell the moment the Dolorosa called the Clade. Cringe! Retell the moment the Dolorosa called the Clade the most important people in the world to her, and when the Signless called them pieces of his heart. It's obvious they all care about each other a lot. He smiles at that, but not a surprised kind of way. Just a familiar comfortability. Cringe dead. Some cringe. It's okay for some cringe to be alive. We gotta keep some of that cringe down. Yeah, I guess this kind of goes without saying at this point, but I would do literally anything for those bitches. Krung. A little cringe can stay. As a treat. They gave me my life, and I'm still trying to find a way to repay them for it. Krung. Well, not to offer your opinion when it isn't needed, but you think he doesn't have to repay anything. You mean, just look at how, just look at everything he's done tonight. Just to make sure nothing went wrong at the Signless' sermon. From how the others talk about him, they sound like it means a lot to them to have him around. It's just that I was about to just go absolutely buck wild and overshare just then. What the fuck? I swear you have some kind of infectious complex emotions disease that compels everyone within a 20-foot radius to start lamenting about their tragic backstories or some shit. It is something about you vibe, specifically. You silently cheer yourself on. Openness is the cornerstone to friendship. No, please, continue, really. You want to encourage him to open up even more, but you can tell that's not the smartest idea. You reckoned if you pushed any further, Sai would completely drop it and not touch the topic again with a 10-foot pole. He kicks aimlessly at the forest floor. Just that I've always had this feeling that I wouldn't live for very long. Maybe that's just some kind of learned low-blood instinct or whatever. But yeah, I had kind of always just been working under the assumption I was going to meet some short end, etc., etc. And before I met them, I used to tell myself I didn't matter if I died. C'est la vie, I didn't care. But now it sucks because I really, really do care, and I have no idea how to deal with that. It was like I didn't have a purpose. I felt like I didn't mean anything, and then I met them. For one perfect moment, I get a purpose. And I'm like, oh shit, this is what having a life feels like. Sign talked to me like I was an actual person for like 2 seconds, and I immediately, after that, I was like, okay, this is it, case closed. I would do anything for you now. I'd fall you off a cliff and thank you for it. I'm not saying that, and I'm not all that religious, but sometimes I find myself praying to the eldritch horrors for that beef just for a little more time. Just for a couple more sweeps. Because every night when I wake up, two of them and I just get in whenever I wake up to them and just do exist in the same space as them, I know there isn't anything I wouldn't give for just a second of that. Oh, this hurts. Think about all that you learned about the Signless's revolution from Tysius, how it's doomed to fall apart. Think about how she didn't even know the titles of the Clade members, how they were completely wiped from history. Just vague silhouetted figures next to a mystical mythical failure. And then you think about the troll in front of you and now and how real he is, and he's not just a footnote in a monologue said by an exhausted Teal. And you know you're in no place to comfort him about the future. Why are you looking at me like that? Fuck. You glance away briefly, lost in the hostile-looking flora, the sharp angle of branches of the trees as Sai zigzags down an impossible-to-predict path further into the woods. Why is everything terrifying here? Try to figure out how to respond. You don't comfort him because you can't. Instead, you tell him you can relate. You have no idea how you made it this far, time fuckery included. You can picture yourself in these little snippets of moments where you surely met your demise afterwards, but none of them feel fully real, but they're still kind of background noise in your disjointed memories. Like a collection of a bunch of bad nightmares you woke up from before it got too vivid. You don't like to dwell on things like that. Yeah, I don't know how long you've had to deal with Alternia, little alien, but that is basically the 24/7 mood. Count yourself unlucky if you ended up on this bitch of a planet. No, but like, you're glad you're here now. If you never came to Alternia, you never would have befriended people who challenge your viewpoint on life, and have come from so many different backgrounds. If you never came to Alternia, you never would have met him, or the Signless, or the Dolorosa. And you think it's a real honor to see people actively try to bring into existence something they believe in. I'm definitely not the authority in having healthy viewpoints on life, but that sounds like a good place to be. Good for you. A good place to be at. Good for you. When I first saw Cyan interact with the world, it made me want to hide. To take him and Rosa and what? Come on. Hold on. Let me adjust my eyes. Alright guys, I'm taking out my eyes right now. Right now. You can't see it. It's pretty gross. I'm taking out my eyeballs. And I'm putting in my awake eyeballs, alright? And I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna be able to read this all properly and understand all of it. Okay, here we go. Can you toggle quirks? No, I think you can only do that in Befriend Us, which is a great feature. No, I don't think I can. I think they meant I. Brit says it's probably an accidental D. To take him and Rosa and I and bring them to some perfect place isolated from any possible threat so they wouldn't ever get hurt. But I've grown up, and I know it's not that simple anymore. Disciple! Disciple! Die as disciple! That's not an accidental D. Duh! Die as disciple. That place doesn't exist. Yeah, I completely fucking forgot about that. Place doesn't exist. It's always going to be a threat, but being able to even talk about it gives me some kind of feeling of agency over how our planet works, and that conversation brings agency to anyone we meet. It feels fucking exhilarating to know you have an impact, and I'll fight for anyone in our community to get to feel that too. The two of you find a clearing. Somewhere deeper into the wild, something that sounds like a mix between a bird and a panicked reptile hisses and screeches. Sai kicks a bug with a rock with his boot. Kicks a big rock. Sai kicks a big rock with his boot for emphasis. I think this is as far away from town not to be conspicuous. Alright, came out here to bury a body. The bone Sai was holding hit the floor. You nod in agreement and toss your singular bone into the pile. On his hands and knees, he starts ripping into the soil with his claws, almost insect-like, as if he's digging a tunnel to burrow into. Kind of surprised he didn't use his powers for this. Slowly, you walk over to him and join him, dirt getting under your fingernails, and the two of you dig a shallow hole. It's a quiet moment. You like the way it feels. Just two bros in the middle of nowhere, wilding out. When all this is done, you've got yourself a sizable hole to work with, and he dusts off his hands and makes what you think is eye contact with you. Okay, so if I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of disgusted at the degree to which I am overshared tonight. You're a great listener and everything, don't get me wrong, but I would kind of prefer it if after we get the fuck out of Dodge and we both pretend as if all the personal information I just disclosed actually was never iterated into existence. Does that sound fair to you? Hey, he called you a good listener. No, yeah, that makes sense. Understandable. Nice. And with that, the two of you move the bones into the shallow grave and pack the last of the earth on top of all the secrets you just buried. You look at it for a moment, a patch of dirt newly patted back down tight. Then you remember where you are, in the middle of the woods in Alternia, where every living thing will not hesitate to come for your throat. You circle around yourself and are hopelessly lost. Were you supposed to keep track of what direction the two of you went in relation from the town? Because you really, really didn't. Your throat tightens. You're gonna be stuck here, aren't you? Because you didn't choose right. This is some bad thing happens now. And then something's gonna attack you. Because that's what always happens. And then you're gonna get hurt, or Sai's gonna get hurt, and it'll be all your fault, and... Hey, look at me. I'm the Cassie now. Oh, look at that's right. You get your panicked stare off of everything around you and look at him. He's perfectly calm and makes the dread in your stomach subside for just a second. I promise. We're both gonna be fine. He smiles. I did say I'm the most powerful psionic on the planet, right? You swallow and you're about to tell him yes, he did say that, but before you can, energy surrounds you, all enveloping cocoon. Kind of scares you, just for a second, instinctually. The air smells so metallic it burns your nostrils. You feel like you're far too close to something so lethal. Your animal instincts make you want to scamper away. But then he lifts you up out of the tangling underbrush of the forest and shoots you straight into the air, thousands of stories high. And right next to him, next to you the entire time, cutting through the sky all graceful and effortless, both of you float slowly to a halt. 2 moons being gay, boom boom. You feel like a bird up there. You feel like a bird up here. All the adrenaline you'd get on the tip of a roller coaster without the fear of a descent. You look down and see the woods you felt so terrified in, as just a blip in a map extending out, curving beneath you. You wiggle your legs a little, just to drive home the feeling that you're literally flying, turning around yourself in the night sky, in the air to scan the night sky. It looks so beautiful. Twin moons, the gradient of the dark under the bright stars. Pretty cool, right? That is definitely an understatement. I told you we had nothing to worry about. I come up here to think a lot. Or just to fuck around because it's fun and I can. Kind of puts things into perspective. Back to business, though. Help me look for that town. You scan the planet below you, find the spot again where you used to be, and the canopy of trees all reduced to blurred colors from up this high. You point with your finger and, with one eye closed, draw a line to where the canopy stops and meets a town, nestled in between the hills. The forest cleared away around it, and the rooftops and twinkled sparse lights in between carved-out streets. That's gotta be it, you tell Sai. Great work, co-conspirator. We were never lost, see? We just had to look at it from a different angle. And also use my badass mind powers. You smile at him. Sai might have said he's not adept at healthy mindsets, but he sure knows how to comfort someone when they need it. You hope he knows that. Alright, prepare yourself. I like to make a bit of an entrance. With that, the two of you make a straight shot for the town, and with the Sai still holding onto you carefully, you dive into the descent head first. Catapulted back to the ground. Everything passes by you so fast. You feel close to indestructible. Well, you are indestructible, you meant to yourself. You are being enveloped in a pure light itself. And then it's over. Sai carefully guides you to the floor of the town street, and lifts all hold he had on you. Your legs wobble because you've forgotten the feeling of gravity for a while there. But with some effort, you stand up back straight. You thank him for getting the two of you out of the woods, not figuratively. That's no sweat. I should be thanking you for now. He looks around this way and that, making sure no one's around to listen in. Committing treason with me. I don't think I could have handled that alone. He looks you up and down, and then decisively spits on his palm and holds it out to you, as if waiting for you to shake it. You're frozen. So, you're really gonna leave me hanging after all we've been through? Of course not. It just caught you by surprise is all. You didn't think he was too keen on people touching him and everything, after you tried before. Well, yeah, a random alien in an alley and just wilded out and called a troll? No. But a friend. Of course I want you to give me some motherfucking skin. Oh. Oh, he really just dropped the F word like that on your fragile heart, huh? Well, there's no stopping you now. You proudly hold up your palm and spit into it, giving him the most epic, firm friendship handshake of all time. Yay! Treason buddies! Sorry, guys. That was the good ending. You know what that means. We lose. Time for the bad ending. Tell him he's spitting bars. Damn. Sai. Okay. Alright, cool. Damn, Sai is making major points. There really is no way of concretely trusting this high blood not to just double-cross Sai's kindness if they were to let him go and, as he said, put everyone in that sermon in danger. Their Clade especially. You have to give it to him. From your place on the steps of the back door, you cup your hands to your mouth and say supported bars. Because, yeah, those are bars right there. The sudden disruption distracts Sai, and he breaks his concrete stare at the... Wait, me saying bars distracted him more than me going, STOP! The sudden disruption distracts Sai, and he breaks a concrete stare from the indigo blood to look over in your direction for the briefest of moments. But that was all it took. You can now see the outline of the psionics holding the troll grow less vivid and opaque as he turns to you. And in that moment, with his concentration gone, the troll he was holding fights free from his grip. In less than an instant, they recover with a roll upon hitting the ground, grab a broken piece of axle from a scuttle wagon littering in the alley, knocking Sai in the head with it from behind. There's nothing you can do as watch it happen. No time to call out and warn him. And Sai falls to the floor unconscious, or worse. Oh, fuck. In a flash of movement, somewhere in the peripheral of your vision, the high blood scampers off somewhere. The thought crosses your mind that you could go after them. Definitely not the most adept at handling whole-ass adult troll completely alone, but you'd have to start on them, at least. You could try. What do you do? I don't have a choice. Stay and help him. But you can't go after them, can you? Not when there's a troll right in front of you who had a whole closet bonding moment with, who put his trust into you, and now needs your help. No way you're gonna abandon him. You run over and kneel where he lays fallen, untangle him so you can put his injured head in your lap. You're definitely not equipped to handle this in the slightest. You look for his pulse, right? Do trolls even have pulses? You take his wrist and pinch and feel for a steady beat of blood rushing to his artery. You realize that's a silly question. They have the alien equivalent of hearts, so they must also have alien equivalent of a pulse, too. Get it together, MC. Just feel like you're in deep end with all of this. Put your hand in front of his mouth to feel for breathing. So, it's a very good thing that he's alive, but you have no idea if it's going to wake up anytime soon, if he's going to wake up anytime soon. And that terrifies you. You don't know what more you can do but stay there for him. So you wait. You sneak off for a second to sneakily open the back door just a crack and check in on the sermon, but everything still seems to be going smoothly. No one aware of everything that just occurred outside. Which is probably for the best. You know Sai likes to handle things on his own when he can, and would probably get pissed if you told the Clade to let them intervene. Still, as you go back and sit with Sai and elevate his head once more to make sure he can breathe right, you know he needs more than just your help, even if he does get cagey about interrupting his family. You resolve that if he doesn't improve soon, you're gonna get the Dolorosa. Just as you think that, though, Sai snaps back into consciousness. He hisses and scampers away from you, back onto his wobbly legs, reaching an arm out behind him to the base of his skull with a wince. He looks at you, on the floor, then at the complete absence of the troll in the alley wall, and then both ways onto the street beyond, still clearly coming into lucidity. What just happened? Where are they? You immediately stand up, dusting off your knees, and relay to him the events that happened in like 15 minutes ago. The axle, his head. He's really out for a while, actually. Speaking of that, he should really get ice on his head. Lay down for a bit, maybe. Where are they? Right. About that. So you're all caught up in, making sure he wasn't dead and everything, that you couldn't really take the time to hunt them down or anything. Do you remember what direction they were headed, at least? Come to think of it, you can't say. You do, exactly. But everything was happening all at once, and you were scared for him, is all. You need to make sure he was okay first and foremost, and everything else kind of faded into the background. So there's just a highblood working for the Empire somewhere in this town who might have all kinds of sensitive information about the movement and actively knows we're onto them. And you let them go just because I was hurt? He's raising his voice, but you know it's out of fear. It still hurts. You open your mouth, but you can't say anything. It's quiet between both of you, and Sai looks at you sympathetically. 1 second, Ow. Feels the back part of his head again, steadies himself. Okay. I didn't mean to blow up at you. That was fucked up for me. I want to reiterate that what happened back there was not your fault. It was completely mine, but his face goes very serious. But in the grand scheme of things, my life does not matter in the slightest. I don't think you will be, but if you're ever in the situation of choosing between my safety and the safety of the movement again, choose the movement. You choose the movement, and every single time. Am I clear? Tell him you don't agree with that. He matters. He matters as an individual, and that's why you helped him, and you would do it all over again. We're seriously not going to have this conversation right now. Sorry, but if you all are going to be partners in crime together, he's going to have to deal with you caring about his well-being. This way, you can make sure he's okay. Then the both of you still have time to track down that high blood and make sure they don't disclose any information that could compromise the movement. Everyone wins. Sai kind of squints at you, like he's about to disagree, but if the silence stretches, you think he's actually going to drop it. That's if we still have time. And there it is. You spoke too soon. Sorry, really trying to not be a pessimist right now, except I'm not... You could have the information in the town that could be headed right now, and the family is the only one that's... The element of... He's talking alarmingly fast, not even stopping to breathe in between words. Okay, this motherfucker needs some de-escalation of his own. You tell him to slow down, okay. Take some deep breaths. Miraculously, he listens to you. It's Doodles! It's Doodles, the surgery legend. Doodles, how are you feeling? Doodles went into surgery yesterday. How are you, Doodles? I hope you're doing well. Once you've gotten him visibly less shaken, you tell Pain is doing really well, surprisingly. Oh, that's good. That's good. I won't disclose what kind of surgery. I know it's private. You can tell Chad if you want, but Doodles went into a pretty big surgery. And I'm glad to hear that Doodles is doing alright. You tell him that both of you can do this, even though you have the semblance... Yeah, hysterectomy, exactly. Even though you have no semblance of pain in your brain right now, besides to run around the streets aimlessly trying to find them. Yeah, that hell organ's fucking gone, baby. You can do this. Let's just make a plan. So far, the two of you have been great at plans. This does not have to be the end of the world. I wouldn't go that far, but you're right. I'm sorry about my fall. I'm sorry about my fail freakout circa 10 seconds ago. I'm over it now. It's no worries. Sometimes it simply be that way. We've already wasted enough time with my whole brain injury moment. I feel like a sitting quack beast staying here. Let's get moving. Want to flip a coin or something to figure out which side of the alley we start heading down? Because I honestly can't think of a better way to determine that at this point, considering we have no leads at all. Why not further leave it to fate? Fuck it. When has that ever gone wrong? You look down at the floor for a moment because you feel really bad you didn't take better note of which way they were headed. Curse your low perception, but then you see it. the blood from when Sai yanked that earpiece. You can't see the bright red shell of an actual earpiece anywhere on the floor. Patrol must have grabbed it when they made their exit. But their blood from the injury is still clotting the pavement in little droplets. You follow the little trail of indigo here and there, and sure enough, it leads right to the right side of the alley. Sai notices what you're doing and gives you a smile. For the first time since he's woken up, he looks almost hopeful. That was actually really smart of you. You beam. See? Now both of you have an actual lead to investigate. This is still totally doable. You're right. Okay, game face. Let's get this grub loaf. With that, the two of you make a mad dash following the trail of blue out of the alley and into the streets, rushing to make up for lost time. You zigzag in between buildings until you're so exhausted you have to consciously think about breathing, every inhale burning as it goes down. Besides you, the Sai has an unbreakable focus, triple-checking the blood trail is still underneath every second or so, constantly spitting his focus up and down in what's in front of him. He looks desperate, to the point where you can tangibly feel it in the air. The baby hairs on the base of your neck. The baby hairs on the base of your neck are sticking straight up. Feels oddly personal, seeing him feel so powerless. You want to make things better, as is your usual gut instinct. You tell him in a calming voice, you know, even if his fears are right, even if for some reason we don't find them, you're sure his family isn't going to blame him for that. You've met the Signless, the Dolorosa. They're really understanding people, and they just seem to care about what's best for everyone. They really, really care about him, so that's not even an option right now. I don't even want to think about it that way. I don't even want to think about that, okay? I don't know if you've noticed this, but I fuck up a lot. It's something I've been trying to work on. But if that means I have to drag them down with me and fix my mistakes, I can't let that happen. They don't deserve that. Okay, but like, he's not fucking up though. Over the course of one night, he's been put in a lot of situations. And every time, he's just been trying to make the best possible choice. No one's gonna make him feel bad for just trying to help. Cool, so I've got an A for effort and nothing else. That sure is helpful of me. He looks down one more time, and then back up at you, halting both of you in your tracks. Alright. We've also got new awesome development on our hands. The blood trail ends here. You look down to see for yourself, and yeah, there's one measly trickle of indigo, and then nothing for the entire rest of the street as far as you can see. You run ahead to make sure the blood is really gone, because it can't be. That means you're both at square one again, and you can't let that happen. Sai's gonna freak, and you hear the rustling of, hopefully, troll-like movement around the street's corner, which makes you completely freeze up on instinct. That could be them. Y'all could catch them here and now. In a swift motion, you crouch to make sure your shadow doesn't peek out, and motion for Sai to come join you. He must have heard it too, because he gives you wide eyes, silently dashing over to hug the wall beside you. Holy fuck. He's whispering, but it doesn't hide the anticipation in his voice, the hope. I didn't think it would be this easy. Okay, on my call, I'm gonna jump out, put them in a hold. Try not to, die or anything. 3, 2, and then Sai jumps out. There was definitely supposed to be a 1 in there, but alright. Anyways, you feel the air reminiscently go static and completely unmoving. Watch the sparks leave his fingertips, and then unceremoniously fizzle out into nothing. He grabs, again, at the base of his skull, curling in on himself with a pained yelp. Oh boy, this is not good. You rush over to help him, in theory, but you also know this is some weird troll telekinetic ability shit you have absolutely zero medical knowledge on. You feel the same way you felt around Follicle, kinda. Just the whole having no clue what's going on, but knowing they're suffering from some bad alien affliction. Maybe being in his general vicinity will subconsciously help vis-a-vis good old moral support. You hear a what the fuck is that supposed to be from behind you and turn to see definitely not an indigo blood staring the both of you down. They're an olive blood and they look pissed, which I mean is totally understandable considering y'all are just special ops tumbled from a corner and poised to attack them. Here I am, minding my damn business when a psionic and they stop and consider you for a moment. Whatever the fuck that is supposed to be, comes special ops tumbling out of a corner poised to attack me. Hey, aren't you with that preacher everyone's been talking about? The one that walks around in a blanket? Sai looks like he's still in approximately a lot of pain, so you draft yourself to handle this one. You assure the Olive that this was all a huge mistake. See, you kind of both have a score to settle with someone. You know, vengeance. Fighting, normal Alternian pastimes. You're sure they can relate to. But you're both totally confused them with someone else. You hope they understand. Makes sense. Yeah, whatever. Definitely been there. Just don't try that shit again or we're gonna have a problem. MSPAR is like Gonzo. Yes. Yes, they are like Gonzo. Indescribable alien. I didn't mean to try to hurt you. Honest. It's from somewhere behind you it catches you off guard. You really didn't think Sai was alright enough to say anything. I wouldn't have done that if I knew you weren't who I was looking for, and I'm sorry. The Olive Blood seems to be very taken aback by that. In fact, way more taken aback than they were having nearly gotten into a scuffle. They look all vulnerable for a moment, kind of like the way that Cerulean did when the Signless spoke to them. You figure trolls don't hear or apologize all that often. Then they glare at him, spit on the floor, and scamper away into the darkness. That's an Olive Blood move. Well, that could have gone a lot worse. Look at that, he apologized. You're sure the Signless would have been very proud of that, using his teachings and everything. Sai makes a face. Sign's not my keeper. I apologize because I'm not a huge bulge weed. Not for some invisible resolution brownie points. Oof, there you go again, saying the wrong thing. Why are you so bad at all this friendship business all of a sudden? Making friends is like definitely one of the only skills you've got going for you. So my Sai's completely shot now, which is cool. So, I mean, even if we do catch them, it'll be kind of pointless seeing as how I don't have the advantage anymore. Where did all this self-doubt come from? Wasn't he hyping himself up one of the best psionics to ever breathe like an hour ago? Let's bring that positivity back. Oh, badass confident. No brain rot me has... Oh, badass confident no brain rot me has definitely left the chat a while ago. Unfortunately, you're stuck with incompetent, insufferable me for the foreseeable future. Feel free to bail now. Also, I mean, considering I can't even use my psionics right now without verging on a meltdown, it's not like I can bring that to the table anymore. You point out that maybe it was good, that his powers fucked up when they did. You know he wouldn't have wanted to hurt some random bystander. Shouldn't have ever gotten to that point is the thing. I shouldn't have tried to blindly attack anyone. I should have dealt with the cold blood when I had the chance, then and there. This just fucking sucks, because in normal circumstances I could use my Psi to get two of us at a high advantage point. We could see the streets all at once, try to spot them that way, but that's completely out of the picture now. Wait, I can still try. You tell him that he definitely shouldn't try that. Even though, even you know it's gonna further fuck with his brain. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try... Oh, fuck. Sai gets about 2 centimeters off the ground before hitting the pavement again. Yeah, as you said. No more telekinesis shit for a while. You're gonna have to think for a plan that doesn't involve psionics. So what is the plan exactly? We keep moving. That's it? That's the plan? Yeah. That's it. That's the plan. Please do tell me if you have a better idea. So you keep moving. You walk for what must be hours upon hours until you feel your feet start to blister, until you're sure you pass the same street over and over again. Every time you steal a look at him, you can see in his face that he already made his mind up about how this night's going to end. You're trying to stay positive, you really are, but it's hard when you can tangibly feel how completely done he is. Come to think of it, it's as if he knew you were both going to fail since the beginning. Since he got hit over the head, he's just been going through the motions ever since. Maybe you're reading into it too much, but the thought gives you an uncanny kind of infectious feeling all the same. The sky turns just a few shades lighter, and you know in due time the unforgiving sun is going to rear its ugly head from behind the mountain skyline. There's no urgency to either of your pace anymore. There hasn't been for a while now. The two of you move as if you know you have to, because this is how it has to play out, far beyond either of your control. You watch as Sai looks and eventually acknowledges the sky too. You think something privately to yourself, something you didn't think you'd let yourself say tonight. This is fucking hopeless. This is fucking hopeless. Don't you get it? This is the one thing I'm good at. Keeping them safe. And I fucked up. Sai takes a deep breath. And just and has a little get yourself together moment as he rubs his hands in his face. He looks really, really tired. I should probably go back to my family. Tell Sign and Dai and Rosa what happened. I mean, I don't even know if they're gonna want me, they're gonna want me after this. Like, I have very much just proven myself to be a giant liability. I need to track down everyone who was at the sermon and let them know too. It's the least I could do considering they're all in danger now on account of me and everything. I mean, we're probably gonna need to rehome, and then I don't think it's safe for them to stay here. But I have actually no idea where they could go, where it would be safe. Can't ask a whole town to leave their community they built. Fuck. You explained you could go with them, you know, help them explain. In your head it was supposed to sound reassuring, but your tone got completely lost somewhere in between the words. Thanks for offering, I guess. But this is repentance I need to ask for alone. This sucks. Yay, we destroyed a town. Happy story. Happy story. I forgot these are like twice as long as the old Friend Sims or the Pester Quests. So I am going to go get a drink. I'm going to heat up some food. Play the good one again. We can't play the good one again. Here, you know what? I'll play the good one again, and we'll skip to the end, and we'll be happy. All right. That's how it works, right? Everyone forget what just happened. Ready? All right. Well, you heard the music. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. I'm gonna go heat up some food and get some water. Alright, I'm back. Walmart sells these, like, I think they're like 90 cents. Like a 90 cents microwavable, like, little pasta dish. And for the price, pretty good. You mic them up. Only takes like 5 minutes to mic. Then you got yourself a nice little pasta dish. Got myself a nice little pasta dish. I'm going to proceed to eat that while we continue on this adventure. We are about to interact with my favorite blood color in all of Homestuck. I love Olive Bloods. Olive Bloods have, like, historically, Olive Bloods have all been like my faves. And I hope they did the Disciple good. Just saying. I do love all of them. Teal. Well, yeah, I like teal bloods too, but, like, not all of them. I probably like more olive bloods than I like teal bloods, to be honest. I like Terezi, I like Latula. Oh, we haven't even hit the teal blood for this game. I hope she's dope. Let's what's her face? What's her name? Judge Judy? Is that her name? Judge Judy? Red glare, exactly. But I love Nep. Nepet is great. And obviously, Polypa ended up being my favorite out of Hive Swap Friend Sim. Can I just say, you know what's really weird? Polypa's great, and I love Polypa, but I just recently found out, and I'm about to talk about Bandori here on the Homestuck stream. Bandori is a rhythm game that I play. If you don't know, look it up. Polypa is the ship name that they gave the band Poppin' Party, which is Poppypa. So they gave, for the ship name for the whole band is Polypa. And I think that's pretty fucked. I don't know which came first. Yeah, the whole band. Yeah, like a polyamorous relationship. Yeah. Actually, hold on. I told myself I wouldn't go on Twitter, but I wanted to check how the Bandori contest was going. The contest. Bandori, Bandori rankings. I'm looking for ranking. Bandori Awards. Here we go. Zilly. Let me see how this is going. Okay, no official results yet, but yeah, this was such a fucking generic. This one made me mad. I rigging another vote, maybe not as much. This one was such a generic result, and I'm sorry for talking about Bandori, but I am eating my lunch, so I mean, this is such a generic fucking result. Can I just say this? This here, people love Sayo. Poor fucking Rinko. I love Rinko. People love Ron. Raka, that was surprising. And fucking Yukina beating out Karu is such a bastard move. So 3 of these are really generic. And honestly, we gotta make sure Hagu wins, because I can't fucking see fucking Sayo or Yukina or Ron win again. I'm fucking sick of it. Also, poor Mashiro. She's new. She's fucking part of Morphonica. God damn. He can't keep getting away with it. That's enough about me talking about Bandori. But yeah, that made me a little upset. But on the bright side, the ones that I told everyone to vote for in this one won. So I might have some pull. So perhaps we'll have to see. I might have some pull because everyone that I told people to vote for actually won here. So obviously Hagu made it. There she is, my girl. Mocha made it, and fucking Chu made it. So I think Pareo's already out. That fucking sucks. Why did we let that happen? Sorry, I'm taking a BRB, Cassie. Hello. I'm eating my lunch. But Distantquest is can Cassie watch? Yeah, Cassie knows everything. Cassie knows everything there is to know about the ancestors. Anyways, Pareo's out, which is unfortunate. No! Wait a minute, Pareo is not out! I don't like Mocha too much. Well, I didn't have to vote for Mocha then. It's up to you. Pareo is not out. Pareo's up against Michelle. Shit. Yeah, some of these are a little tough. But Hagu versus Akko, that's fucking tough for me, because I like both of them. But anyways, we're done talking about Bandori now. I apologize for that diversion. I am going to eat some pasta. Cassie, you missed, did you see the stream title? I called it Distantquest. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the Cassie now. So let me just finish eating my pasta, and then we'll go back to it. I'm the Cassie now. I'm not the Cassie now because I'm actually eating on stream. Unlike Cassie, I'm actually eating something on stream. Did you miss anything? Yeah, you missed the Psionics story. We're going to be doing the Disciple now. I don't think people want to see me eat foods. Well, I can tell you, there's probably one specific sect of the internet that probably would very much like to see me eat food. Perverts! Yeah, you missed Psy. That's alright, you can go back. It's pretty good. Are we ever going to get back to OG Homestuck? Sure. If we can plan out a time, Doodles, we can go back to regular Homestuck. I mean, if we go back to reading Homestuck, we might actually catch up with Cassie. Even though we're like 4,000 pages behind Cassie. So yeah, for the money, this 90-cent little pasta dish is pretty good. Don't go breaking my heart. Oh, great, Doodles. Next 4 weeks off. All right. Well, we will plan to read Homestuck then at some point. So, the plan for November, stream-wise, is obviously Hive Swap is coming up. Munch. There's no crunching. I'm just eating. Let me eat. Let me live my life. This is a BRB. People can skip past this if they want in the VOD. No Tech November. Fuck that. I'm gonna be playing Hive Swap Act 2 when that comes out, obviously. And on top of it all, this may or may not interest you guys, but they actually released a full-fledged, real, for the first time ever, good Kamen Rider game in Japan. Like a good one. Like a fighting game. And it's legit. I've seen vids. It looks good. I bought it. And it is being imported from Japan. I don't know when it will be here, but at some point, I would expect before mid-November it will be here. And me and Isu are going to stream that. It's not every rider. It's only 3 riders. It's Kamen Rider Double, it's Kamen Rider O's, and it's Kamen Rider 01. And I don't know 01 that well, but Isu will fill me in as we play. But yeah, no, it looks good. The fighting mechanics, this is a legit game. And the best part is it's I believe it's East Asian, which means they subbed it in English. Like not an official English release, but they subbed it in English. So I get the subbed version. So we'll actually be able to fucking understand it. It looks really good. Hold on, let me show you guys some gameplay, because I was watching this like, whoa. We have heroes. Precure fighting game 1. That would be fucking amazing. I would love that. I would love that. Precure versus Kamen Rider fighting game. Well, with Toei they could. With Toei they could. That'd be pretty cool. But they would fight with each other. They wouldn't fight against each other. Precure and Kamen Rider are friends, canonically. There you go. I'll skip through this a little, but I wish I would have gotten the PlayStation version. I got the Switch version, but that's all right. Look at this. This is like legit. I love it. I can't wait. Tenden. So yeah, this'll be very fun. This will be very fun. I just finished Doubles series. Isu and I just finished up that season, and it was very good. So I'm excited to play as Double. So yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, and expect that this November, along with other games that I have not decided on yet. Let me just finish up my last couple bites of pasta, and then we'll get to the Disciple. I had to give my reading comprehension a cool down anyways. The longer I read, the worse I get at reading. You want pasta? What kind of pasta? Well, it's like a little 90-cent dish from Walmart that I just threw in the microwave. Yeah, I can show you in webcam. It's pretty good. It's in a meat sauce. Hold on. It's actually it's really good. I'm sorry, the coloring is all off on my webcam. Pasta cam. Yeah, it's good. It's good pasta. Nice shirt. Oh, it's a sweatshirt. It's cold in my basement. I gotta start buying pellets again so I can turn on the pellet stove and heat the basement, because it's getting that time of year. Share some pasta, Ryan. I actually have 4 more boxes in my freezer. Cassie, if you want to come over and grab one, you can. All right. You guys ready? Ready for the Disciple? I'm excited. On my way. All right. See you in a week. I'll keep the door open for you. All right. Where was it? There we go. Let's unmute the game. Homestuck roguelike when? Jesus. Let's get a content warning in case it doesn't tell us. Volume 4, Blood, Animal Death, and Dismemberment. References to torture and off-screen death. Alright. Volume 5, Violence, Excessive Use of the Fuck Word. Who is that? Volume 5. That's... Oh. Hey, you know what? That makes sense. That carries. That makes sense. The sad part is, I just realized, now that we're getting all the good people out of the way, all of the Clade, the Signless's crew, the rest of the fucking game is gonna be just a bunch of bastards, essentially. Volume 4, The Disciple of the Necolution will not be televised. Is that a play on a whatever it takes. Is that a play on words for a Gorillaz lyric? Because there's a Gorillaz lyric that's the revolution will be televised. I remember that. It's a revolutionary saying. I don't know. I'm not a history man. There we go. Blood, animal death, dismemberment, sada sada yada yada, sada 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 yada yada yada. You feel like you're finally starting to get a handle on this whole time travel thing. Sure, you pride yourself you were no slouch before. I mean, it's not everyone who can bring themselves back again and again from repeated, brutal, horrifying, awful, distressing, traumatizing. Alright, the adjectives are getting away from you here. Oh yeah, but basically, Cassie, this is a fan-made friend sim featuring the religious trolls from the deep lore backstories that absolutely made no sense and homestuck to me the first time I read it. In any case, it's not everyone who... So this is not canon, basically. In any case, it's not everyone who can bring themselves back from failure to ensure the best and most friendful of outcomes. Still, since you became more consciously aware of those abilities, it sometimes felt like less like choosing a river and more like being one of those dead minnows that floats to the top, tangled in pond scum and at the mercy of the currents. Not anymore, though. You're not ocean debris, you're a salmon. A paper-white, spherical, friend-shaped salmon who's about to swim upstream of the Alpha timeline and spawn a whole hell of a lot of... Okay, now where the fuck are you exactly? You take a moment of stock of your surroundings. It appears to be a cave of some sort, with cavernous walls decorated with colors that, from your experience of Alternia, is as likely to be blood as paint. Perilous warning signs, but your encounter with the Signless carried more than a few valuable reminders about your purposes here. You wouldn't exactly call it a pep talk, but it has jarred you a little out of that existential funk. By the way, I haven't seen her sprite, and I'm very excited. Truth, relevance, essentiality aside, you're lonely. You still need people, even if it's not the same starved way you used to. Besides, you've done caves before, panda caves even. You and Asdaja made it out just fine with minimal Super Saiyan-esque antics. Emboldened by your status as experienced adventurer and friendmaker, you decide to take a closer look at the art. Oh. Despite the rough settings, you're surprised at the level of... Oh, this is based on a Homestuck panel. Remember this. Despite the rough settings, you're surprised at the level of detail in the paintings. The soot-black figures are the stark and mysterious even in the dim light of the caverns, and the color of their eyes and clothes stand out more vividly. You're no art critic, but in terms of contrast, you give this a 10. Some of these figures seem oddly familiar, although one featured most frequently seems to be without a sign or visible horns. You squint hard at the colors. A burgundy? Realization slides down your throat like ice, though, as you realize. Clearly, the artist lacked the materials to render the candy red of his blood and eyes, but there's no mistaking that hood, or the distinctive horns of the jade next to him. You start to walk quickly down the line, trying to take in as much of the story as you can. The two are eventually joined by an olive and a goldblood, though you don't think you've met them or the descendants yet. The other members of the Clade, then? You begin to notice all of them are words, seemingly clawed into the side of the cave walls. The Alternian's been a little rusty since you were de-scratched, but you can make out snatches of words. And if I speak of love to these, then who can say the reaping of it will be. As you walk, you feel the cave closing tighter around you. You seem to be going further into the depths. The images shift. The olive, the gold, the red entwined, purple figures approaching and drag them away, the jade kneeling, and indigo, their bow drawn taut. You feel a tension start to rise up in your throat. You break into a run towards the next mural. That love, once planted, plant 1,000 more. Kindness flows as easily as blood, no matter the veins. You burst into a small grotto, finding yourself face to face with the largest mural yet. Signless, hands chained above his head. Diagonal lines of red slash across his dark torso, and the look on his face is one you've never seen on him before. Utter fury. There's more Alternian scratched in broad, brutal slashes on the walls beside it. But before you can begin to parse out what it says, your attention is suddenly caught by the figure in front of you. The troll stands up, hand dripping with dark liquid. They swipe a hand across the stone, adding more detail to the mural. Can't make out their face under the masses of thick matted hair, but you can see peaks of olive, what remains of their clothes. Kitty. After a moment, their hands drop to their sides. They stand motionless before their work, so still and quiet that you could mistake them for a statue. Before you could consider what to do next, or even the possibility of binary choice about it, the figure turns. Who are you? Well, now, that's a hell of a loaded question. You find yourself struggling for words, looking between her and the awful painting. You knew it hadn't ended well. Psst, 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 psst. Who the hell is Katra? You knew it hadn't ended well. In some less fortunate timeline, there was a version of you that had ended up in the Dolorosa's aftermath. But to see it rendered like this, after just talking to him, feels more visceral, more raw. In the mural, he looked so angry, mouth pulled back to expose his teeth in an expression you could barely imagine on the cautious young man you've met not a few weeks before. The one who'd promised that the world was ready for kindness and mercy. But it appears you've delayed too long. She's approaching you, slowly at first, but her hands are twitching in a way that makes her set of intimidatingly long claws particularly apparent. Cassie, are you still here? I just remembered. Did the music video drop? I wanna know if you're... It did? Okay. You gotta drop that link, fam. Cassie's in a music video, guys. Cassie played harmonica in a music video, and she played a spooky girl that dies in a bathtub. Yeah. I've heard the harmonica. I've heard Cassie's harmonica playing. It's fucking dope. Yeah, let me see it. Get it to fucking load. Alright, links fucking... The integrated Streamlabs chat blows. I've said this before. Does not work well. Oh my god, I can't even fucking click on the link. They gotta work on this system. There we go. Finally got it to fucking load. I probably can't play this. I'm gonna get copyright claimed. Where's Cassie? I want to see Cassie. Yeah, where's Cassie? Let's skip to the Cassie part. So this kind of slaps, actually. Was that you? I think that was Cassie. Oh, man. So is that you and harmonica? Really? It sounds good, Cassie. It sounds good. Cassie's a real professional over here. That's really cool. Good job, Cassie. You died. You died. Good job. Hold on, there's a spooky ghost at the end. The spooky ghost. I live for your validation. Yeah, no problem. It's very cool. Very cool. I will watch that in full later. Get out. Should you explain? Maybe. Get out! Get out! Okay, decision made for you. You turn tail and run as fast as your legs can carry you. You hear the padding of footsteps behind you. Begin to search desperately for an exit. There's no sunlight, or moonlight, that you could see, though, and the tunnels just seem to lead more and more tunnels. Finally, you do what at this point seems like the most natural flight reflex. Yellow teeths. That's a girl troll. This is Nepeta's post-scratch dance sister. Remember Mulin from the Flash game you played? This is her post-scratch, pre-scratch. I don't know. I don't understand Homestuck. You reach out with your mind and wriggle around until you find a tear big enough to leap through. You're blinded by a flash of light and then find yourself suspended in the air. Panicked, you kick a bit and begin to orient yourself in your new settings. The ancestors were first. Okay, so post-scratch. Okay, got it. You quickly realize your hoodie appears to be caught on a tree branch, suspending your little body above the ground. Oh no! After struggling for a truly embarrassing amount of time to free the fabric manually, you give up and finally decide to just take it off and reckon with the consequences. No, you can't leave that hoodie! No! That hoodie's iconic! You slip your arms out of the sleeves and tumble down to the earth, straight onto your ass. Fortunately, your ass is a veteran in such affairs. It manages to land you in a patch of earth with the smallest amount of rocks and roots. You lay there disoriented before finally getting to your feet, dusting yourself off. Now to grab the hoodie. You spend a few minutes jumping and groping at thin air, trying to catch hold of the sleeve, and your attention is very quickly arrested by the figure in the shadows, crawling across the clearing, nearly on all fours as she moves languidly across the glass. Oh god, had she followed you? Never had someone do that before. But with the number of fractures in space oh shit, fuck, she's seen you! You dive behind the bushes without a second thought, leaving the hoodie behind. There she is. The troll approaches the tree, but not the bush. Wait, is it possible she hadn't seen you? She seems taken with the hoodie, making loud sniffing noises. Well, well, well. What do we have here? She seems less angry somehow than she was 5 minutes ago. But the long claws you're only realizing now may be synthetic, are stained in colors that are increasingly all too familiar. This kitty means business. Currently, you are the memo at the top of her desk. It's like someone stomping upstairs. She gently pulls the hoodie off the tree branch, examining it closely and taking a few big whiffs for good measure. Then her eyes latch onto the sign. Her slit-like pupils flare wide. Now what's a Cerulean doing all the way out here? Fuck, oh fuck. Judging by the look on her face, your mistaken cast isn't about to do you any favors. Still, there's no way you're gonna remain unnoticed for long. What do you do? Oh boy. No, what? No. Go to the next page. Am I not able to go to the next page? Oh, the page buttons are a little fucky. Cat girl, cat girl, cat girl, cat girl, cat girl, cat girl. Alright, fine, cat girl. Look, you don't know this lady. In fact, you're fairly certain you haven't met her descendant either. But one thing's for sure. From the horns to the eyes to the inexplicable pun, she's every inch some kind of ancient precursor to a cat girl. And if you've learned anything from your time with Wanshi, and a traumatizing read-through of Soldier Purbeasts, it's that cat girls are sucker for one thing and one thing only: roleplay. Slowly, carefully, you crawl out of the bush, keeping your body in a crouch. She turns, eyes widening when she sees you in your posture. Still, she doesn't move to take you out, which you take as encouragement. Now, I could do a deep cut voice for her. A voice that you would surely all hate, and only a few mods know. A long time ago, when Isu and I first became friends, Isu sent me a little video game. I don't know if you've heard of it. The worst video game. I won't do it. I will not do it for her. Don't worry. I just want to explain. Isu sent me the worst fucking video game we have ever seen in our entire lives. A game called Nekopara. Those streams are unlisted on YouTube. Those will never see the light of day. Those are for us and us only. And I invented the worst voice ever. I invented the worst voice ever for the main character, Chocula. And it goes a little something. Well, you know what? You know what? We'll wait until she speaks again, and then maybe you guys can take a listen for yourself. I gave her quite a voice. Slowly, carefully, you crawl out of the bush, keeping your body in a crouch. Yeah. Still, she doesn't move to take you out, but you take as encouragement. In your best Twinklepaw voice, you begin to tell her how sorry you are for intruding on a huntress's grounds. An unimaginable affront. But it was unavoidable, as you find yourself in a desperate situation. Or dare you say, desperate. It's actually impossible that you could feel like more of a dumbass than you do in a brief silence. But at least you're not a dead dumbass. Her eyebrows shoot up high enough that they actually threaten to fly off her face entirely. Then, just when you're sure she's about to flex her hand and be done, her eyes narrow, the pupils thinning to lines, and she crouches down next to you, resting back on her haunches. Are you ready? I will give you 3 dialogue boxes of this voice. Let me just take a sip of my water before we go. I haven't done this voice in a while. Let me warm up for a second. Alright, I think I got it. Desperate! Well, I suppose I could forgive the offense if there's a tale to go along with it. There you go. That ain't the one. That ain't what we're doing. That ain't gonna be the whole thing. I ain't gonna let that be the whole thing, but there you go. I love that goddamn voice. That voice is so funny to me. But everyone hates it. Literally nobody likes that voice. Actually, no, I think Retty Doodles likes that voice. I think Doodles likes that voice and Kate likes that voice, and that's it. For a second, you blink. Jesse Cox. No, I'm not Jesse Cox. If I was Jesse Cox, you think I'd be streaming without Krendor? Come on. For a second, you blink, blindsided by the idea that your bullshit just worked. I mean, one of these days, doing the first idiotic thing, or second, depending on if you made the other choice first, that pops into your head has gotten to come back and bite you in the ass, right? If I was Jesse Cox, I wouldn't do a single thing without Krendor. I love Krendor. Krendor is fucking great. If I knew Krendor in real life, I'd be a happier motherfucker, just saying. Still, apparently the universe isn't feeling your ass today. Seizing upon the lifeline that she's tossed you, you begin to do what you do best, spin. You tell your story as quick as you can, translating off the cuff into terms more suited for the genre. You tell her that you are currently on a roadside tour of history with the help of your friend Bone Pelt. You'll have to check with Aradia later. It's idiotic sounding even to you, but her expression gives you away nothing. At least until you run out of things to ramble about. I see. Well, in that case, I assume you'll be needing this back. She proffers the hoodie to you. Oh, good. For a moment, you just look at it, then look at her, half expecting it to be some sort of gotcha. Still, she doesn't look necessarily murderous. And this dialogue has gone on for way too long for it to be the first bad end, so you take it gratefully. After all, what's a warrior without their... Her shoulders seem to shake for a moment. You tense, only to be hit by the loud, raspy noises of her laughter. Oh! Despite its suddenness, it's hard not to be a little swept up when her entire body moves with the laughter, letting it tumble her back and sit on the grass as she clutches her sides. You feel a couple chuckles escape despite yourself. This is the disciple, Knox. Couldn't keep a straight face. After another moment, she wipes her eyes, taking a shuddering breath. Her head tilts as she regards you with an amused expression. You should know, it's not so easy to surprise me. Baby! So, what's a hornless little wriggler like you doing out here in the outskirts? It's not exactly popular with tourists. Now that you're no longer cowering with fear, you find it hard not to notice how pleasant her voice is. It's soft and lilting, with the faintest accent. There's a quiet quality to it as well. She isn't really used to using it. You're not exactly a tourist, you tell her. What then? Man, she is just 2 for 2 in questions with complicated answers. You scrounge around the corners of your mind for one that doesn't sound like the biggest heap of bullshit a bull ever did shit. When an 8-foot light bulb in the shape of a troll grinds that train to a thought in a screaming halt. Oh, Dolorosa! What? Oh no. It's got football. I was gonna say. It's pretty good. It's Kanaya's hot. The Dolorosa! Man, you've got to tone it down with the MILF quest. God damn it. Wielding what appears to be a sandal as she charges out of the bushes, teeth bared. Your new friend looks back in confusion, and you nearly pop away in fear before the Jade's head catches up with her reflexes. She stops short. The footwear slowly drops to her side as their gaze lowers to your level, the rage fading into bewilderment. And you flatter yourself, eventually morphing into an expression of pleasant surprise. To you. Yeah, that is certainly one way of referring to yourself. The Olive, who seems wholly unfazed by the rainbow drinker with deadly shoe game nearly rusting you, gets to her feet, brushing the dust off of her legs. Rosa, perfect timing. I was only alone with them for 10 minutes before you rushed in to save the day. The Dolorosa, Mrs. Merriam? The Signless's hot mom? You should really have asked first names at some point. Gives her side-eye before dropping the shoe and slipping her foot back. Wait, she's wearing those? Wait, the Dolorosa's wearing flip-flops? Okay. That's not the fashion I assumed. There's a slight smile twitching at the corners of her mouth regardless. I left my knife back at camp. I had to improvise. I'm sure you'd be just as formidable, Purim. The Dolorosa rolls her eyes. I appreciate the attempts to soothe my stung pride, Leon, but the cat puns sort of reopen the wound. In any case, she turns her full attention back to you. What are you doing here? There's a slight pause before she amends, voice a bit gentler. Not that it isn't good to see you, of course. My charge and I have been wondering when you would turn up again, or, well, if. You know this mutant? They're a friend. That's another way of referring to yourself, and a better one in your opinion. We've encountered them once or twice. The one who... She makes the same limp hand circles the signless had used to indicate portals. The olive nods and the Dolorosa returns her attention to you. What have you been up to? That's a bit of a complicated answer. After leaving the signless, you popped back in to check with the Radi on the next event you should visit. She seemed preoccupied, kept looking at certain cracks and muttering to herself. Ultimately, though, she told you to continue to follow your instincts, and you suppose it led you here. You know. You tell the Dolorosa you've been hopping around a bit, trying to catch them, which is roughly true. Now, if she wouldn't mind, where and when exactly are you? It's been a few periges since he last saw you. As for where? The Olive, Leon. No titles, you guess? Maybe not every adult has one. You're still figuring the rules out. Chimes in. A few nights south of Trashgut. She studies you curiously, a smile spreading across her face. It's a good smile, you think, excited and warm, like she's really happy to see you. Then her lips pull back to reveal a sharp set of fangs, and you wonder. So, you're that traveler, then. It's good to meet you at last. Likewise, you tell her. It's not technically a fib. Sure, you hadn't exactly known of her specifically, but it's not hard to work out that she's one of the Clade members. One of the... How would he put it? A piece of his heart? The Dolorosa adjusts her clothes a bit. In any case, Huntress, are you perhaps hoping you will keep still long enough for prey to come? So there is a title. You notice Leon's hands twitch ever so slightly, which has your heart in your throat, but her voice is even and light when she speaks. Sitting still would be better than scaring them off, Firefly. But if you're getting hungry, then I suppose we could speed things along. She looks at you, the faintest light of mischief, or maybe more excitement, it's hard to say, in her eyes. I wish Nox was still here. Nox knows a lot about fangs. There's a creep. I said Nox knows a lot about fangs, right? There's a creek a little ways from here. You up for it? Is she inviting you on a fishing trip? That's a past version of you. And what about it? You know how they went, is he, you know... This is me with Nox. This is me with Nox. I go. I see Nox standing over there, and I go, Are they, you know. Very! It's alright. No, it's fine. I'm not being mean. It's perfectly fine. I just like poking fun. Okay, alright. There's a past version of you, a version driven by forces they never fully understood, who would swoon at the prospect. A fishing trip, a good old grounding fishing trip, with nothing to do but sit by the water, look out on the placid ripples, and talk about life, about girls, about growing up. You'd have fainted dead away. But you're a more mature person now. A person who nobly accepts the offer with only a couple of happy tears in their eyes. Good. Talk about some boys. Sorry, I have a Pop-Tart. Well, if we're having another for dinner, I'd best go tell the others. I'll have things ready when you arrive. You wave goodbye and turn back to the Huntress, who's already disappearing into the trees. You trot after, huffing a bit as you try to keep up with their pace. It's like Gentaro. Yes, everything is like Gentaro. This game would be a lot better if Gentaro was in it. Gentaro fan troll when? She keeps stopping. I want to take a minute. I remember when we rigged the fucking Bandori poll, and I was like, everyone draw Hagami as a troll, and I got like 2 drawings of that, and I regretted it instantly. They were adorable, but why did I ask for that? She keeps stopping to sniff the air, which seems like an interesting tactic to track down a stationary river, but then you're not the hunter here. They told me about a time-traveling alien. I must admit, I was expecting someone taller. Well, that's a new one. You say if it's any consolation, your height is pretty inconsistent. You'll have to wait for the next end card to see how it shakes out this time. The sound of running water cuts you off. Your experience with Alternian rivers has been less than ideal, but there seems to be a lack of murderous sea dwellers near this one. The water is clear and fast-moving, forming rapids a bit further down from where you are. Dark shapes wriggle and squirm in ways just off enough from the earth fish to make you feel oddly queasy. You move to sit down on the banks, but Leon wades right in. She looks back at you, head tilted a bit askance. Well? You'd kind of been hoping to avoid a dip in the freezing water, but shouting at her from the shoreline doesn't sound like the greatest conversation method. Sheepishly, you say something about poles, even as you roll up the bottom of your sweatshirt to try and minimize the soaking. It's easier when you put yourself in the meowdle of it. Meowdle. It's easier when you put yourself in the meowdle of it, I promise. Ryan, click my link. Okay. I'm gonna shit myself. It's double. Why did they make Excel so short? I just send this over to Isu real quick. Isu probably isn't awake. Oh, wait, no, Isu's probably awake, but Isu's probably at school. Oh my god, I need to load up Discord, I'm sorry. We just finished double, like, 4 days ago. Man, let me see if Isu's around. Alright. The water is about as warm as you'd expect from Mountain Stream, which is to say, not fucking very. You wade out to about where she is, though the water hits you much higher than it does her. Now, keep still. Look at these sprites. Let them forget you're even here. Easier said than done. The current doesn't seem strong at first, but the gravel of the river bottom is loose and fish darting around make it hard to focus on grounding yourself. Your arms flail wildly as you try to keep your balance, and finally she catches you by the hands. Easy. Pick a fish. Focus on it. Still teetering, you try to force yourself to look down. It's hard for a minute to look at any one fish. Little symbols, little schools of them dart around your legs, and any time your eyes latch onto one, another starts wiggling around. Finally, you pick one. A round little fuck with a patch of lighter scales on top that make it easier to keep track of. Watch its body language. Think only about its movements, what it's thinking about, what it'll go towards. You've tried to empathize with people of all makes and molds in your times on this planet. The fauna are a new one, but you try to do as she asks. Maybe it's all in your head. It's all in your head. But as you focus with all your might, slowly everything around starts to fade out. It's just you and this little wiggling blob under the water. You watch as it squirms between its fellows. As the huntress's hands slowly release your own, you remain steady on your feet, refusing to break your gaze. You realize it's doing a little hunting of its own, creeping up towards the water bugs hopping along the surface of the water. That's it. Just breathe. And when the moment is right... The smooth surface of the water is suddenly distorted, and just as quickly returns to normal. You hear a sudden wet slapping sound, and when you look up, you realize Leon is holding a fish in her teeth. Cat girl. Right. Hard to tell past the wiggling trout, but you think she might be grinning at you. Either way, she tosses it into the shore and looks back at the water. Seconds later, her hands have shot in again. It's a little unsettling to watch her snap them up with her jaws, but you find it hard to argue with the results. Some of the fish start to scatter, but it seems like she's too quick for them to catch on. If that makes sense. A small pile grows by the shore. That emote! That specific emote in the middle there, that was really good. You return your attention to your fish. It's swimming precariously close to your own legs, and you decide now is the moment. There it is. I love that. I love that. You try to mimic her easy, fluid movements, almost casual. Like, hey, no big deal, little buddy. Just a pair of legs sliding by you. Don't worry about it. It darts her a little bit, but it doesn't seem to want to take its chances with her significantly more muscular calves either, so it doesn't go too far. You draw your hands back, waiting. And then, when you can't wait any longer, you pounce. Well, pounce is the wrong word. From the outside perspective, you have a feeling it looks more like a very aggressive belly flop. The icy water soaks the hoodie to your chest, and for a moment your head goes blank, muscles tensing all at once. Somehow, though, you retain control of your hand. You feel your fingers close around something slimy and very frisky. Gripping as tight as you can, you try to haul yourself and your quarry out of the water. The rocks slide out from under your feet, and you find yourself toppling backwards, taking the fish with you. It sails in a perfect, graceful arc through the air. A thing of majesty, truly. Right up until it smacks into your fishing buddy's face. Oh no! They have purple blood. I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's a little fucked. That's a little fucked up. I didn't even think about that. The fish have purple blood. She hisses, reflexively smacking it. You scramble desperately to your feet to try to catch it. Miraculously, you manage, but you realize pretty quickly that it wasn't just her hand that hit the fish. Your hands close around its body, the fish guts spill out onto your hand. These sprites there's a lot of them for her. Try to maintain your grip on what has essentially become a bag of leaky viscera, falling to slow your momentum as you crash straight into Leon. You both fall into a flailing pile of limbs, Leon trying to push you off without hurting you, and you trying to pin the fish between both of your bodies. And all while this entrails are pouring everywhere. Well, you got the picture. But 20 minutes later, you're wringing out your hoodie over the river while Leon politely averts her eyes. Ultimately, neither of you are sure you have anything that requires this degree of modesty, but still, it feels right. Is Leon like a pun of lion? Yes? Yes? Her attention is more caught by studiously dissecting the day's catch. Well, crushing the fish to death wouldn't have been my first choice. But it's effective enough, I suppose. She's terrifyingly efficient at deboning them, which you suppose should make you nervous, yet you can't deny there's something almost calming about watching her work. You've wrung out... These fucking sprites, though. You've wrung out your clothes as much as they can be wrung out. You pull it back on and flop down in the grass to keep watching. As she works, you realize her lips are moving. You ask her what she's saying. She smiles gently, glancing up. Thanking them. They made good sport. They'll make better dinner. I want them to know it won't be a waste. It's something my Lucis taught me. Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart. I will Venmo you $1 if you can tell me what flavor I am eating. Incorrect. 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 Oh my god, guys. Alright, I'm giving that to Nox, because Nox, you can't do a second... Because you can't do a second guess after you were wrong. Nox, you will get $1! Congratulations! It's brown cinnamon sugar. I got sick of the s'mores. I was on, like, my third box. Not like, in a... Like, I had only ever bought the s'mores for the past, like, 6 months. And I was like, alright. I'm a little sick of the s'mores. Hold on, I got a message back from me too. Okay, guys, I have great news. Isu,
Okay, what is it?
I have something very important to show you.
Okay.
I have been sent this by your good friend Britt, and I almost pissed myself on stream. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I don't like that.
What specifically don't you like about it? All of it? People can't see your face, but Issa looks very distressed right now.
Oh, you on stream?
Yeah, I'm streaming! There, now people can see your face. What do you think of it, Isu?
Is that you? The really small one?
Yeah!
Oh my god.
It's Axel!
Don't ask him questions.
Don't ask him questions. Isn't that really good?
Somehow Philip is the one that's, like, most
Philip
perturbing to me.
Philip is really tall!
Why is he so tall?
Prince sent me that. And I was like, what?
Is this real?
Yeah! Somebody made this, apparently! I thought that was hysterical. Because the first thing I saw was...
good.
The first thing I saw was the Shotaro one, and I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Shotaro. And then I saw double, and I was like, wait, what? Wait, hold on! That's fucked up.
I'm glad you showed me this.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Alright.
Oh, Britt sent me something. All I did was Google Common Writer Homestuck to find it. Horrifying. Thank you.
Why did it have to be the one we just finished 4 days ago?
I think I'm gonna cry. There's a little mouth on double, and it's horrifying.
I know, it has a little mouth.
Wait, he got a little mouth. Okay, go back in
goodbye.
stream.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna cry.
Okay. Alright. Great. That was Isurani. You have an odd moment for this to strike you, but you guess you've never really put much thought into the process of loose-assisted child education. At some point, food gathering responsibilities have to transfer over, you suppose. Your last two jaunts on Alternia, most trolls you knew provided for themselves via the drones, but this seemed to be significantly before Troll Amazon. The training starts as soon as we're pupated. Can't exactly be dependent on them to feed us for the rest of our lives. Or, well, most of us can't. My red heart. He's still pretty hopeless. She rolls her eyes, but there's transparent warmth in her tone. Like there's a pride in his floundering. The signless, you say? I mean, you've met him. Does he seem like the type? If we're near a city, he talks to vendors in a circle, and we never have to worry. But out in the wilderness like this? I discovered Rosa had been doing most of the hunting. He's still getting the hang of it. And a good thing, too. Since our last member joined to sweep later, we have another mouth to feed. Oops. Oh, no. Did I... Oh, no. What did I do? How do I disable it? There we go. Okay.
Self-voicing disabled.
God damn it! I was so hoping he wouldn't say that. Classic meme! Classic Ryan Phantom meme! I swear that was an accident. Good thing, too, since our last member joined the scene. Okay. That makes sense. The Signless you met, well, you wouldn't call him squeamish, not really. But him killing animals with his bare hands wasn't easy to picture. Unless he's changed pretty severely in the, past few months? So, what he and Rosa told me, is it true? Time and space, you can just... I feel like Aradia and her would be good girlfriends. Words seem to fail her and she settles for snapping her fingers. Like that? Pretty much. God's least favorite anomaly, that's you. It's not that I didn't believe them, it's just... a lot. Yeah, that's more than fair, you think? So, her hands are at a standstill now, as she stares down at the fish. Have you gone any further than this? Furward, I mean. Well, sure. A lot further, actually. Centuries down the line. You start telling her about the strange troll disease known as the internet. No, I mean... us further. Like... She pauses for a long moment, searching for the words. Further along in our timeline, for Rosa or him. Or, well, me? Do you have any idea how this all turns out? Because... She finishes off the last fish and wipes her hands absently in the grass, fingers slowly creeping up to fidget with her thick, wiry strands of hair. She stares out over the water, expression slowly stilling. Sometimes we talk, the three of us. Rosa too, but it's different with... In any case, we talk about what we're trying to accomplish! My red heart, he doesn't like to raise hopes too high. He talks about struggle, about incremental change. My gold heart, well, he indulges sometimes, but he's not exactly an optimist. I think he views this all as some kind of noble martyrdom. Don't mistake me. I know it'll be hard, the hardest thing any of us have ever done, but can all this suffering really amount to so little? He's fought his whole life. Rosa did too. I've seen his words move through crowds. I've seen his words move crowds. I've seen teals lay down their arms at his feet. I've seen terrified burgundies attack their masters to give us time to escape. So I guess what I'm wondering is, if you've seen anything, any changes, even the small ones. Her eyes flick back at you. How do we end up? You feel a pit of dread opening up in your stomach. God damn it. Somehow you always end up here. Or at least, with these guys you seem to. Drawn back again to the same awful brink. She looks at you with an expression she is clearly struggling to keep neutral. But the tail behind her flicks and you swear her hair is puffing out a bit more, gibbly. Bedraggled as she is by her dip in her river and hands covered in blood, she looks so much like her future self that you can't help but think of her, alone, painting pictures of loved ones long gone. Sorry. I suppose... I mean, can you even tell me something like that? Like, there's some kind of rules? Well, no, you say carefully. There's not exactly rules. Even if there was someone around to enforce them. Mostly just an honor code. Though you seem to have stretched it more than a few times. I completely forgot I wanted to show off the fucking Lupin video that you sent. Hold on. Where'd that go? Any interests? No, it's not. Where is it? Stupidity? Where's that Lupin video? There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. I wanted to make sure everyone saw this. Show hot ones. I'm not gonna show hot ones again. This is an extremely good animation that I wanted to show you guys of one of my favorite animes, Lupin the Third. Here you go.
wishes they could be like me.
Like you.
Smart and cool, handsome, wealthy, and so sexy. They need a hero, somebody who is just like me.
The best part, absolutely. Keegan's saxophone. There he is, Fucking legend. From everything you've experienced, however, the only consistent truth to this timeline is that there is one way for major events to turn out. All deviation will be wrenched back into service to the Alpha timeline. Oh, okay, good. I mean, maybe good, or... Well, at least we can't break anything, right? So, do you know if any of this works? I love her, too. You feel sick. You've confronted the heartbreak of inevitability with these guys before. Seen them cycle between acceptance, defiance, and despair over it. Watching them powerless and sad, about to careen into destiny. But it's one thing to know it. It's another to tell someone directly to their face that everyone they love will suffer a horrible fate. That they will end up alone, reliving their worst moments in a cave forever. That their work may, through some chain of causality, reap benefits for someone else down the line, but that they themselves will end up a footnote in the history of their enemies. Somehow it had been easier with Rosa and the Signless. They'd believed in the cause, but somehow you felt like telling them the ending wouldn't break them, not truly. Like they'd given themselves time to prepare for the inevitability of failure. Like they'd let that possibility sit in their mind, getting just comfortable enough that it wouldn't feel like a waste. The way she talks, though, she's a believer. I'm a believer. And I saw her face. And we did a COVID concert. We don't believe in COVID. Anyways, here's All-Star. COVID's not real. Hey now, you're an All-Star. It's in her eyes, her voice, the look on her face when she talks about him. Can you believe fucking Smash Mouth did a concert during COVID? What fucking assholes. You think no matter how strong she seems that you don't want to be the one to find out how easily her heart can break. You look right into her hopeful eyes and try desperately to think of a lie when you are interrupted by a peal of thunder overhead. For a brief moment, you think, thank God, I've been saved by dramatic intervention. Then the startled look on Leon's face reminds you that rain isn't just a temporary inconvenience. Oh yeah, right, acid. She hurriedly starts gathering up the results of your hunt. We have to move now. She struggles to hold on to all the meat before she starts eyeing your spacious hoodie pockets with a worrying look in her eyes. It squishes against you as you run, but you still rather that than continue the previous conversation. You run as fast as your legs can carry you, with her close on your trail, but the rain starts coming down in earnest. She does her best to shield you with your body, but she's still a low blood, and you ultimately won't be able to take it much longer than you. She tugs you under a tree for a second's reprieve. Camp is too far. We're gonna have to improvise. There's a cave I know, not too far from here. We should be able to make it. Normally you're not one to argue with a lady with a plan, but something in her tone makes it sound like she's trying to convince herself, which isn't exactly inspiring confidence. Not to mention, caves mean isolation, and a long period where you have nothing to do but wait the rain out and talk to fill the silence. The last thing you need to do is tie up the last conversation thread. Your eyes cast around desperately for literally any other option, and miraculously enough, you find one. A tent, downhill from where you are. You can't make out any identifiers, but the two trolls moving quickly to finish setting it up are clothed from head to toe in olive. You've been around the troll block enough times to know that they're calling for help from strangers is like asking for trouble, but these are low-bloods like Leon. And in your experience, they tend to be a little less murderous. At least, they're less likely to do it without provocation. Not to mention, they're definitely closer, and more importantly, serve a vital distraction from any existential meltdowns. It's a risky gambit, but so is bolting to a cave you only might make it to. What do you do? What do we do? Hey. Hey. Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. What do you guys think? Tent. Follow her.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Why can't I stop thinking of this video? This video is forever. This video is just forever in my brain. I really need to... Hold on. Can I download this, like, right now? I keep forgetting to fucking put this on this into Streamlabs. Because I fucking bring up this video so many times. Please upgrade. No, I'm not upgrading. Tent. Follow. Oh, this is pretty split, actually. Alright, we'll follow her. In the end, the stakes of that gamble are too high. Pick up a fallen branch still covered in leaves and hold it over your head as a makeshift umbrella, gesturing to her like, after you. Faint smile twitches at the corner of her mouth, and she bounds out into the rain, dropping to all fours occasionally as you do your best to keep up. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Desktop, select folder, download. I got it. I got the video. Did it work?
Look at us.
No, this,
Hey.
Oh, shit. Hold on. That's probably wicked loud. I apologize. I apologize for how loud that was. Streamlabs' default is probably fucking deafening. Let me just fix that real quick. Hey, look at us. Monitor off. Mute output. There we go. Hold on. Hold on.
Look at us.
It's fucking massive, by the way. I love how massive this is.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
That should be like... I should change that to my follower notification. Or my subscriber notification.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Alright, perfect. Oh, man. Alright. She notices... you notice she leads you to a far arc around the tent of the olives you spotted. You do eventually reach the cave. Wouldn't you know it, you manage to do it before you're both melted into gooey slop. Still, as you shuffle over the threshold, you can't say you're in the best shape of your life. Your body hurts pretty much everywhere, and there's a faint barbecue smell that you think might be you. Having your entire body in absolute agony like this takes you back. It's nostalgic, honestly. Man. When did the ground get that close? The good news is it's pretty hard to feel your flesh being eaten away when you're unconscious. The bad news is it hurts just as bad when you wake up. You're lying on a stony floor with Leon hovering over you. She's carefully rationing out small portions of soper from a pouch at her hip and spreading it over the worst of your burns on your arms and your legs. You groan at the pressure on your wounds. Easy. This'll take the sting out in a few minutes. You blink hard, fighting to remain awake as she carefully applies the balm. It's hard when your consciousness seems to be doing its best to split off from whatever the hell your body is doing right now. Over the dull roar of your own pain, though, you hear a deep, scratchy sound. At first you think it's distant thunder, but it's too close. Growling? Then it clicks. Purring. Leanna's purring. She catches you staring at her cheeks tinged green. Sorry. My Lucis used to do it to calm me down. Old habit. You tell her it's nice. She smiles to herself as she finishes spreading the last of the soaper. Good. Unfortunately, that's the last of the stock I can spare. Best to do now is to help you keep it clean. She starts tearing strips from her sleeves and the cuffs of her leggings, using them as makeshift bandages. It still hurts like hell, but you're at least able to think a little straighter. You flex your hand experimentally and thank her. Don't mention it. If I could, I'd head back into the woods. There's some leaves where if you chew them up and spit them perfectly into the mouth of the burn victim... you appreciate the offer. But do you think this'll do? She snorts, muttering something that sounds suspiciously like your loss, but turns to look at your surroundings instead. Well, at least the view won't be boring while we wait. Despite your recent experiences with caves, you have to agree. The stalactites glitter eerily in the ripples of the river and are almost haunting as they echo off the cave walls. Something about this place feels almost otherworldly. Wait, hold on. Let's go back. What? Go back to what? What are we doing? Oh, okay. I spent a lot of time in caves. Too much, I think. Well then, boy, are you glad she seemed to have dropped the topic of her future. You feel another stab of guilt, but she continues talking without encouragement. After my Lucis died, well, she taught me as much as she could. I didn't have to worry about feeding myself, and if predators came by, then I could usually handle them. But 6 sweeps is still young to be on your own in a place like this. Caves were the safest option, usually. Sometimes there were bears. 6 sweeps. Roughly the age of Aradia's friends. Tried to imagine Karkat or Tavros or Kanaya trying to make it on their own. You guess Terezi kind of had, but Terezi was, well, a lot of things, but definitely a special case. The exact role of a Lucis seemed to vary much as the role of a parent does on Earth. Sometimes it was hard to determine who was taking care of whom. Some kids, like Vriska, would probably even be better off without one. But still, to be that young and have absolutely no one, not even the protection afforded by higher blood, doesn't sound like it could have been easy. She seems a little embarrassed and takes a sudden interest in picking some dried blood out of her claws. Well, thank you, but it's really okay. Or, not okay, but I don't know that fair really factored into it. In that I don't think I really ever expected it to be fair. I don't think anyone does. That's part of the problem. It was just the reality. I was on my own. I had to make it my way. And to make my way, she makes a humming noise that might be some kind of mirthless chuckle. There was a time when I was younger and fiercer when I was proud of it. It made me strong. It didn't give me any excuses. I had to grow or I'd die. I was right and wrong, I suppose. But no matter how strong I told myself I was, it was still a long time before I was ready to leave those caves. And then I had to realize people were much harder than prey. There's something lonely in her voice, in her eyes. You've heard it before, in ZBD during your first call, and Lynera at the coffee shop surrounded by people she was afraid to know. If you were honest, you heard it sometimes in your own voice. There's some emptiness that doesn't go away in a crowded room. The sense that everyone else has got some kind of message you missed, that you were too hopelessly far behind to catch up. So, how do you go from recovering hermit to low-blood activist? There go her hands again, tugging at her hair lightly. pulling as if to tease the thoughts from her head one by one. That's a long tale. Not always a nice one, either. I wasn't the best person. Even that's being generous, honestly, but he says it helps to forgive. People were hard. After all that time on my own, there were smells, sounds, words I didn't understand. More of it every day I spent in civilization. I knew the language, of course. I could communicate with people, but trading, bartering, jobs, all of that was nearly gibberish to me. I hadn't had anyone to teach me. It felt like I'd arrived too late to learn just by watching. It was overwhelming. Sometimes I thought I'd go crazy, but I realized I could make them respect me. She pauses, like she's gathering the words to say next. You realize how it's a habit of hers, like she has to practice what she'll say a little before she lets it out. You give her the time she needs. Idly, you toss a pebble or two into the pool, trying to see if you can make them skip. I was strong. I wasn't afraid of the first, even near dawn. Those were vulnerable skills to have, especially... Nutmeg! Are you attacking my couch? Please stop attacking my couch. That couch is new. Now my cat's being a brat. First it was just animals, the occasional loose-eye smuggler, but eventually I worked my way up to the most discreet services. She seems hesitant to explain. You give her a nod, like, yeah, you're a hip kid. Down with the slang for mercenaries these days. Some of your best friends have been mercenaries. You have the horrible nightmares to prove it. The brat cat, yes. It was just a job, just survival, the same as I'd always done, but at a certain point She plucks at her sleeves now, nervously. Things got complicated. I think I started to like being feared, but because it meant I was safe. I was perverse. I was wrong, but I didn't know any other way to be. Maybe I did, but I just wouldn't let myself. It made me impertinent to people somehow, like inference that I couldn't be thrown out, as long as I was part or something. That all changed when I met them. She rolls to her feet, picking up one of the flatter stones you missed and tosses it. It bounces 4 or 5 times across the surface of the lake before ricocheting into the wall opposite. It was a contract. I was supposed to take him into custody, but I listened to him first. What he said that day wasn't like anything I'd ever heard. Yeah, you have to imagine open speakers on behalf of low blood rights aren't exactly a dime a dozen on Alternia, but Leon is shaking her head emphatically. That I'd heard before. Not as openly as he preached it, of course, but if you get any litter of disillusioned low bloods in the same room without a high blood nearby, they'd say the same. I didn't need someone to tell me I was a person. I knew that. Deep down, every low blood knows that. At first, this surprises you. Should it, you wonder? You think back on your experience. Sure, there'd been the occasional sellout, a Faza or a Vicaire, a low blood who bought in or pretended to buy in, possibly out of some misguided sense that this was the best they could hope for. But yeah, most low bloods have been pretty self-aware of their situation. So what was different about him? Her eyes are bright now. As she started to pace a bit, her hands gestured. Her tail swishes back and forth, in great danger of flicking you if you don't lean back. I'd never heard anyone describing a person like that, being a person like that. The idea that we weren't just owed air in our lungs, that the issue wasn't a natural order of strength or too many drones or tension between low, mid, and high, but something wrong with the fundamental way we saw ourselves as a species. That the reason we continue to hurt like this is that we saw ourselves as inherently designed to be either hurt or hurting. That our refusal to be more was a result of fear and trad fission. Not biology. What kept us down was our fear of punishment and our belief that we had a limited number of people that we could care for, that we needed to start separating our caste into allies, enemies, and victims until the High Bloods didn't need anything to let us break down. I followed him after the sermon, asked him what the fuck he thought he was doing, if he was drunk or broken or... I didn't know what. Something had to be wrong. I wanted any reason to tell my client not to worry. He looked me right in the eye. He told me I'm telling them they're allowed to love. That the troll disease called friendship isn't a disease at all. And their ability to pity it is a sign of functioning eyes, not dysfunctioning will. Fucking troll disease. I have to wonder, through time fuckery and just like universe fuckery, how much is this disease called friendship? Do you think this is all John's fault for him uttering that phrase once? And with all the time fuckery, somehow it became a thing? I hate Homestuck. I hate Holmes, man. She stops. You realize you've been holding your breath. The excitement, you'll admit, is a little infectious. Maybe it was emotion, maybe. Either way, still pretty crazy. Sorry, I got a notification. So, what happened? Her face splits into a grin. You have clearly arrived at the good part. I laughed in his face, but I followed him that night too, and the night after. Listened in on conversations. He didn't talk to everyone, just the ones he thought might listen. I tried to pick out a pattern, but there was none. He didn't pick them for any reason beyond that they looked like they might be ready for what he had to say. It was the same at his sermons. People would bring friends, quadrants, co-workers, anyone they could find, because they looked like they might need him as much as he needed them, and he welcomed any who'd listen. She looks you right in the eyes now, like she's just handed you a gift and is waiting to hear your response. Can you even understand how bizarre that is in a place like this? Not the strongest, the quietest, the craftiest. No shows of loyalty demanded beyond a handshake at the start. Just whoever needed it, to listen, to be listened to. No questions asked. I followed them to the next town, and the next. He probably would have let me keep it up, but Rosa told me to make up my mind. In a way I already had. Everything changed that week. Everything. I knew there was no way to go back, to pretend I hadn't heard him. Watching her talk, it's incredibly bittersweet in all the best and worst ways. The light in her eyes when she talks about this idea of personhood, of unconditional care and acceptances. Moving is the wrong word. Moving implies a level of externality that you don't have to the situation. She makes you want to believe, not just in the sense of intellectual agreement, but that kind of evangelistic fervor that makes you pin people down in the streets because life can't go on until they know. But there's a sadness there too, colored by the outcome, by where this truth takes you. I knew what I had to do then. He hates when I call it my calling, but I knew it then, as pertinent as I'd know anything. I needed to make sure other people got the chance. Book. She reaches into the satchel at her side and pulls something out, pressing a small leather-bound book into your hands. You open it to find the pages, covered in cramped Alternian writing, so small and close together you can only just make the words out. Like whoever was writing was making as much effective use of the space as possible. Occasionally you'll find small sketches cramped in the corners, usually of the signless. Sometimes Rosa and Sai. I started writing everything down. Every sermon, every place we've been, what we've seen, everything. It's frisky, I'll admit, keeping a record like this around. But if something happens to us, it has to live on. It has to keep going, keep reaching people. This is the only way I know how. The way she says it. So matter of fact. She says if, but something about her tone says when something happens. I'm really enjoying the story and all. But can we just think about this for a second? Can we think? Andrew Hussey put Troll Jesus Christ in his comic. And we're playing a fan fucking series about Troll Jesus Christ. What? What is happening? I don't understand this fucking comic.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
So matter of fact, she says if, but something about her tone says when something happens. She's preserving, you realize, because she knows better than anyone how easy it is to wipe it all out. How quickly someone's words can die with them. You start to read, squinting your eyes a bit to pick through some of the dense forest of text. It's the Silence's voice, distinctly so, but as you read it, you find bits of her in there as well. Not exactly editing, nothing sounds like something he wouldn't say. But like something building off the spirit of his words, tacking on embellishment and elaborating where they had space to do so. You think, yeah, probably. Yeah, probably last. That'll be interesting. That'll be real fucking interesting. I don't really want to fuck with the Condas. Sorry, taking a bite of my Pop-Tart here. Alright. But like something building off the spirit of his words, tacking on embellishment and elaborating where they had space to do so. You intended to stop after a few sentences, but you find your eyes slide to the next page, and the next, as your head starts to churn. What are you doing here? It's a question you've tried to answer for yourself shortly before arriving. Whatever constraints exist over this timeline, if Aradia is so to be believed, they will prevent you from making a meaningful change. There is no world in which you can ensure the Silence's rebellion succeeds in their lifetime. And you won't kid yourself into thinking this is straightforwardly about their friendship either. This is about understanding. From everything Tysius has told you, so little is understood about them. So little is preserved. How did she put it out? Quite nice and fuchsia. So this is your role, to understand. Because by God, somebody should. You realize, looking down at this is why Tysius knew. This is why anyone knew. Because someone had meticulously preserved it, ensured its persistence long past the point of reason, demanded its essentiality when no place was made for it. Guys, I think this might be a metaphor. I think this might be a metaphor for something. Is there a book in history that's kind of like this? That tells the history of a martyr? I don't actually know. Do you guys know if there's a special book? Do you guys know if there's a good book? I was about to look up the fucking clip, Britt! Britt, how dare you? That's exactly what I was looking up.
Am I immortal? I hope not. But you could be. You know, he loves the poor and the gross and slimy and worthless and... Look at you. You're all those things.
Who you talking about? Who loves me?
The guy in here, man. And the guy in here. The Bible.
This is the Bible.
You question the words of the mighty Jimmy?
No!
The mighty Jimmy. Oh. Might be time to do a fucking Aqua Teen rewatch. I love Dana Snyder's voice. Oh, I don't recommend it. It's fucking horrible, but I love it. Yeah, that was gazpacho. Dana Snyder, very good voice actor. He's gonna be on a new Disney show next year as a main character. He's also on Venture Brothers. He's in a lot of things. I love him. He's great. The mere existence of this thing in your hands is so courageous it makes you want to cry. Yep. And yet, you look back at Leon, finally. She's watching you with some sort of eagerness you get when you're showing someone something new you think they'll enjoy. You think about how unfair it is that this is all that will survive. This woman is told a story This woman is a story herself. A good one, you think. But it won't be told. Speaking of showing your friends good things, I started watching The Mandalorian with Britt yesterday. Baby Yoda. Green Yoda. And before you can stop yourself, you blurt this out. You ask her if she's really okay with this, committing her life's work to furthering someone else's goals. Because that strikes you as potentially an extension of old habits, of letting other people's wishes overtake hers for some sense of belonging. They're noble goals, obviously, goals you share. You're certainly not going to be the asshole out here arguing some both sides shit about clown church and low blood rebellion. Britt just called him Green Yoda, and it made me laugh really hard. Calling him Green Yoda is really funny to me. But is she okay with this being the only thing left behind? Is she okay with the memory of her being just the function of something far bigger than any individual she cares about? And could she really stand to lose everything to it? All of that spills out of your mouth and into the still air between you, and you feel no better at the end of it. It's impossible that this wasn't a spoiler, that you didn't pick up from the genuine despair in your tone that you've seen how this all ends, and it's not well. You stare down at the book in your lap and wonder if there's enough left in your stomach to vomit. The silence stretches on, unbearably long. Then suddenly you feel an arm wrap around your shoulders. You're being squeezed tight into her side. When you finally dare look up at her, her face is calm, happy and warm even, the kind that reaches down to the tips of your toes. It does come off like that, doesn't it? I know my red heart worries about it, like you wouldn't believe, honestly. Talks my ears off about it. Her hand strokes your arm gently, and you are suddenly fighting back tears. How long has it been since someone has touched you this gently? I've always known how this might end. Always. But as hard as it is to believe, it's my choice. Lowbloods, they rarely have a legacy. For a very, very long time, Baby Yoba, I called him Yoba because of the Monster Factory video, though. I worried mine would be one of destruction, of my hunting prowess, of my ability to hurt. Even that would only last as long as the people who knew me were still around, but this... She reaches over and taps the button. Stop! No! I don't... Stop sending Tall Yoda. Tall Yoda's not real. He can't hurt you. She reaches over and taps the book in your lap. This is going to survive. This is going to outlast us all. No matter what I have to do to ensure it. So that someday, someone like me who is lost and angry and scared get the chance to see that there's always a choice. That trolls are capable of being more, that they are more than what they've been shaped to be. And if enough people know that, really act on it, maybe there's a chance. I'm not clicking on that. Outside, the rain is slowly coming to a drizzle. She gives your shoulder one last squeeze before letting go. Not everyone will understand. Like I said, it has to wait for someone who needs it, who's ready to hear. But despite the despite the clods? What is that supposed to be? Odds. Okay, despite the clods, he's convinced me people are worth it. There's no putting that away. Clods! So I chose this. I chose a legacy. I choose a legacy as a disciple. I choose to make sure the message reaches everyone who needs it, even after we're gone. As long as that happens, it doesn't matter whose voice is dictating. Dictating?
Self-voicing disabled.
Dictating. Because it's still me. My choice. My memory. For everyone who's quick enough to look. Doodles, you were so far behind! His name is Dictator. Richard Tater. Think about this. As the rain, you just got a new Discord name. As the rain slowly dries up and peaks of moonlight slip through the thick blanket of violet clouds, you're about to speak when you hear footsteps approaching. For a moment, you're both tense. But when the hooded figure enters the mouth of the cave, the fear evaporates. Hey! Mulin? The signless, out of breath. Though noticeably unmelted, the hood must be rainproof. Give an awkward wave. You aren't where his gaze is right now. Leon is already running towards him by the time he's crossed the threshold, but he's halfway to meet her. His hands can't seem to decide what to do with themselves, clutching her arms, cupping her face, pushing her hair back out like she's trying to figure out if anything's missing. For once, he's at a loss for words. The storm, I thought. And you didn't come back to camp. Well, obviously you solved it, but... Him stumbling over his words is comically out of character, but you think very sweet. She seems to think so too. Carefully tugs the hood back, giving his shaggy head a gentle tussle. And so of course you wandered out here to save me from a force of nature. Something definitely in your power to do. My hero. She presses a gentle kiss to his forehead, and two under his eyes. A grin splits his face, making the worried lines around his eyes seem to dissolve. It was worth a shot. I'm glad you're okay. You are sure you're okay, right? She gives an exasperated sigh and tugs his ear. He laughs, batting her hand away. All right. At long last, he seems to notice you. He doesn't seem embarrassed exactly, nor does he let go of her. But if unless you're mistaken, his cheekbones are looking a little on the red side. It's good to see you again, my friend. In arguably circumstances of less mortal peril. They're a little cooked. I did what I could, but they'll need another coat of soaper when we get back to camp. That's fine. So I came back shortly before the storm. He almost called them my tuna. So I came back shortly before the storm with enough to replenish our stocks for a little while longer. He also said to tell you he got the pencils. Leon smiles. It's just for a second, but you think Sign may have stopped breathing. Outside, the rain has finally come to a stop. She peers up at the clouds, sniffing the air a few times. We should give it a little bit to be safe, but it'll probably be safe to leave soon. You're only realizing now how bone-tired you are. It's been a long day, with a lot of things you're still honestly unsure about. Our tuna. You're still not sure if it's fair, or if you can make peace with it, even if she has. But as you watch the way she keeps her hand in his, when she leans over the mouth of the cave, moonlight spilling over the two of them, wonder if she might not at least have a point. Fair might not factor into it. What matters is what they can make out of what they have. It's not exactly a happy feeling, but it's a warmer one by far. Making up your mind, you struggle to your feet. In the process, the fish, long forgotten, slides out of your hoodie pocket onto the cave floor with a truly unappetizing splat. The couple looks over at you. Signless looks bewildered between you and your spilled cargo. Should I even ask? She comes over to you, examining the pile of squashed meat and sighing. We might as well cook this before we leave. Make do. She looks back at you and frowns a bit, dusting off your front a bit uselessly. Your pelts are looking a little worse for wear, though, little warrior. Yeah, you have to admit, circumstances aren't great. You have a pretty good system with this hoodie. It has a knack for repairing itself through means you don't totally understand. Something to do with the void resetting all your properties. But between the trees, the river, acid, carrying a pile of dead sea critter around all day, it's in one of the worst states you've seen it. You start to tell her not to worry about it when she stands up and walks over to the signless, holding out a hand. There he is. He looks confused for a moment, but then looks at you and seems to understand. He takes off his cloak and passes it to her. Before you can process the pantsuit situation, she's tucking it carefully around your shoulders and pulling the hood up over your head, giving you a wide grin. Try this on for size. It's weatherproof, and it might help with the hornless situation, in case you end up in circumstances of mortal peril again. You look down at yourself. It's a little bigger on you than the signless, and it's not exactly your style, but it's warm and practical. Something that's rarely true for your outfit choices. You still have nightmares about the cape bikini. You look at the signless like, are you cool with me jacking your style? But he just smiles. I have others. It suits. You push the hood back a bit, thank both of them. Leon smiles and gives you a friendly rub on the head. Good. Now, we need to get a fire going. We've got hungry kittens back at camp. You up for it? That warmth hasn't gone away. It's not the soaring highs you used to get, the sensation when someone you genuinely want to know invites you over for their life as though it's the most natural thing ever. But it still hits. As you look between them, I think you understand her. There is so much good in these two, so much good in their work. The signless and his disciple, and all their reckless caring. No matter how impossible the world they dream of is, you can't help but want to hear about it, at least for a little longer. So at least the knowledge of it survives with you. So you know what? Yeah, you are up for it. That was good. I like that one. Pant. That was only one. Yeah, we haven't done the bad ending yet. You fuckers, we picked the good ending both times. No. Ah, shit. We gotta do the death ending anyways. Oh, remember the sprite? Run. Well, why bother messing with an old standby? You roll to your feet in true ninja fashion and bolt, hoping for the briefest of moments when you might catch her off guard long enough to get another rip in time and have Aradia bail your ass out. Something you neglected to remember, however, is that big cats are predators. Their eyes are keyed towards motion, dipshit. Well, in hindsight, you really should have seen this one coming. They did. I'm gonna go get ass eaten. Excuse me? I'll be right. I'll go get water. I'll be right back.
Do I eat ass? What are you talking about? That's your question? That's it. You rubbed the fucking lamp. You rubbed the lamp, and that's what you want to ask the genie? Oh, great, all-powerful genie, please come out. Come out.
Yes, I'm here. What is your wish?
Do you eat ass?
Of course I do.
Okay. Ready for the bad end? Go for the tip. What about those guys, you say, pointing Leon in their direction?
Self-voicing enabled.
Fucker!
Self-voicing disabled.
Motherfucker! Dictator! He got me. He frowns a bit. Well, it's not an outright rejection. And as one large drop breaks the leaf canopy and splashes near your feet, that's pretty much all you need. Tugging your hood up, you make she looks so fucking... Oh no. I'm not gonna like this. I'm gonna get... You ready to get tatered?
Self voicing enabled. Tugging your hood up, you make tracks in the direction of the tent, leaving her no choice but to follow.
What if I just didn't read?
One of the two olives has already entered the tent. The other is tying down the last pole, hissing faintly. His hand is burned by the rain. His head turns to see you barreling towards him. Omener, hey, what the hell are you dash?
Oh no! I don't think it's gonna... I wonder how it reads fucking, Disciples' quirk.
His voice slowly dies in his throat as you get self-voicing disabled.
His voice slowly dies in his throat as you get closer, but you realize he's not looking at you. The footsteps behind you slow before coming to a stop, and you dare look back. Leona stopped dead. I think it's hard to tell through the downpour. I think she might have just gone pale. Huntress? Several incomprehensible emotions pass over Leon's face, and when she finally responds, her voice is oddly strangled. Omenar, been a while. He rubs hard at his eyes. He can barely believe what he's saying. He looks a few times between you and her, and finally pulls aside the tent flap. You and your weird friend better get inside. You step gratefully over the threshold and look encouragingly over your shoulder at Leon. After a second's hesitation, she scowls and follows you in. Oh. That's not like a good symbol to have in your tent. The other olive is startled by your entrance and opens their mouth to speak before she enters behind you. Holy hells. The other one, Omenar, steps in just after her. Look what the Purbies dragged in, eh? Hello, Danelle. Where the fuck have you been? Hold on. I don't know why I keep deciding to just eat horrible stream foods on stream that are the worst sounds for the microphone. It was just one Reese's peanut butter cup. Danelle gets up, sweeping her into a tight hug. Leon accepts it about as peacefully as a plank, but eventually gives them a light pat on the back before they set her down. Oh, busy for a very long time. Despite her clear discomfort and imperial symbols on the walls, it seems doubtful that these two are going to attack you. You set yourself down on a chair before anyone can tell you otherwise. Too long. Haven't seen you since those riots at Gristleshank. The hell have you been up to? Well... Her hands fidget nervously, and you realize quickly that no matter how friendly these guys may be, trying to unionize the lowbloods probably won't go off well. Rather than leave her to flounder, like a good friend, you step in to divert the attention. You ask them how they know Leon. Her eyes widen, and she starts making frantic motions with her head. But the other two turn their attention to you. Man, where the hell did you drag up this mutant? Call bait if I've ever seen it. Ouch. You try to smooth over that, though, explaining your visitor who's been helping me with... Her face settles into a subtle grimace. Barely there if you're not sort of obsessively track emotions in the faces of those you are trying to desperately befriend. Work. This apparently is the right answer, as Denal and Omanar's faces split into grins with a few too many teeth for your liking. Well, count yourself lucky, then. Denal pats her shoulder, not seeming to notice how she tenses under it. You're working with the best there ever was. Right. The best at hunting? Omanar laughs. Right. Hunting. So, what is it this time? Heard a couple of batteries got loose from the cell block near here. Or maybe something a little less mundane? Come on, give us something. We've been out on the road for a few perigees, and it's been so fucking boring out here. Oh. You're getting the impression that you had a different kind of hunting in mind. Still, you try your best to reserve judgment. Alternia is rough. Oh, batteries. Oh, no. Oh, no. They're talking about Goldbloods. Damn. Alternia is rough, and Leon is hardly the first assassin you've met. It's not exactly nice work, but you've been in this particular glass house one too many times to start throwing stones now. So they're all mercenaries, then. Former partners, maybe? Denal snorts dismissively at the idea. Sure, we've collaborated our, particular skill sets a few times, but we're not exactly on her level, you know. I mean, once the Grand High Blood himself gives you your endorsement, not like you need to fuck around with us little folks anymore, right? Oh, shit. He elbows her in the ribs in a way that's clearly meant to be jovial. Leon does her best to laugh it off, but it's weak. She's wringing her hands together now. Yes, well, all that was a long, long time ago. She's looking at you when she says it, something in her eyes pleading with you, possibly to leave. At this rate, it's coming down now, though. It'd melt both of you to puddles in an instant. Not that long ago, come on. Remember that time in Scourge Scrub? There's nothing left of that cool confidence she had by the river. She looks like she's seriously considering whether or not to take her chances with the weather. The two things... Whoa, my brain shut down. Two things make themselves apparent to you very quickly, though. One, there's no out from this tent that you'd both survive. Even if you could handle the rain, these two would only come after you, confused and probably a little suspicious. Two, if one of you didn't start to sound more convincingly enthused about trading war stories, chances are they would start to suspect you anyways. So you grit your teeth, take a deep breath, and say, what about that time in She seriously hasn't told you the story? Huntress, modest isn't a good look on you. I'd better make some tea. This is a long one. What follows are probably the longest few hours of your life. Story after story of death, destruction, interrogation, and torture. Alleged lacerator trying to smuggle prisoners out of a church. Criminals strung from trees and left to the wildlife until they decide whatever was waiting for them in jail was better than their current fate. Information extracted slowly, painfully from a violet, leading to the destruction of a group of malcontents. Vagrant Jades assassinated or brought to justice. Oh, shit. So she wasn't even like a bounty hunter or a mercenary. She was just like a cop. She was essentially just like a fucking secret police. Jesus. Omanar and Denal should write a book with their attention to detail. You could almost imagine finding it entertaining if the main character weren't sitting in the room with you, growing quieter and quieter with each passing moment. All the while, the Huntress hadn't spoken without prompting once. She answered questions in terms of bare facts, but mostly she's just stared at her tea. The other two barely seemed to notice, caught up in the fervor of their own respect for these actions. You can hardly blame them. It sounds like she was good at her job, a little too good for your own comfort. Again, you aren't sure how much you can judge her. You've seen firsthand with Polypa and Connell. For a lot of olives, there isn't much else to do to feed yourself. What's more, it's clear this is part of her past she regrets. That alongside the sign listing Rosa's endorsement has to count for something. But as Denal belabors the gory details, you can't help but feel your insides twist. The Highbloods laughed so hard when you brought in her head, I thought he was going to piss himself. Leon smiles wanly. That's not saying much. He's usually laughing. Still, I don't care what anyone else says. That was the moment you became his left hand. You know, they still say no lowblood ever got deeper into their inner circles than you. Familiarity perks up in your brain as you finally find something in your frame of reference. Beyond, general familiarity with the concept of violence. Maybe you're out from the tour de force of Leon's rep sheet. Clown church, and the Grand High Blood, so they hire assassins? From time to time. Sometimes you need something a little more subtle than a subjugulator, but you can't afford to associate the church with it. They're not terribly picky as long as you're discreet. Still, she was always his favorite, probably because you were kind of a believer yourself. Still get that book of mime hymns? She bristles and squeezes the cup tight enough that it groans ominously. It wasn't... Omanar and Denal seem startled. She catches herself, taking a deep breath. Things change. It was a phase, but I'm not as devout as I used to be. She sips her tea, which must be ice cold. For a long moment, the room is silent. Things change, right. His tone is icy, which makes you start to tense. The rain pours insistently outside. The Huntress doesn't look up, even as Omanar gets to his feet. You've changed too, No one's heard a word from you in almost 2 sweeps. Somebody started a rumor you died. She takes another sip, still not looking up. What was the last job you took before you left? Something about a jade and a loudmouth mutant? What happens next happens very fast. In the blink of an eye, she's on her feet, hand locking around his throat. Omanar barely has the time to grasp before she whirls him around and shoves him out of the tent flap as hard as she can. Oh boy. She keeps her arm outside the flap, holding him there until he starts to scream. Denal is dazed by the abrupt upheaval of circumstances, but eventually seems to recover themselves. They get to their feet and reach to pull a knife from their belt. What the fuck are you... The Huntress draws her arm back and lunges at them, snarling. You're frozen in place as you watch her strike at the head again and again, till the body lays still. You can't tell if they're unconscious or if... She doesn't get off them, body hunched over their prone form like a predator about to devour their hard-fought meal. Her shoulders heave as she breathes, head sinking down until you can't see her face under piles of hair. Outside, Omanar's screaming gradually fades away. You kind of doubt it's because he found shelter. For a long, terrible moment, all there is the sound of your own heartbeat. Why didn't you listen? The Huntress gets to her feet slowly, shakily, before turning to you with eyes filled with hate. All of this could have been avoided if you just listened. We could have found a cave and now, if there was somebody that they were supposed to report to, they're going to come looking. More people who knew me are going to come looking for them. Her voice breaks near the end, and she has to duck her head to hide her face. She reaches a hand up to rub at her eyes, and you almost feel like you need to look away. Your face feels hot with shame. Meekly, you try to apologize, but her expression is just as angry as when she finally looks back up. Rosa said you were a meddler. She has no idea how much. But I swore a long time ago this part of my past will never, ever hurt my Clade again. She reaches out to you. You think for a second to help you up, but she grips the front of your hoodie and looks you dead in the eyes. I'm leaving. If you know what's good for you, don't follow me. Signless will ask questions, and these are answers you don't deserve to give him. If we see you again, then we see you. I won't pretend I can keep you from him forever, but I won't forget this. And I won't forgive it either. She lets go of you, extends her claws, and slashes a large strip out of the wall opposite you, draping it over herself like a blanket. She shoots you one last hate-filled look before diving out into the night. You sit there quietly, regret filling your heart as you wait for the end card, and fear as you realize there's no way of avoiding the conversation after all. Damn. Damn. Fucked up. Fucked up. Alright, well that was it. That was Distantquest. We still have a couple more left, but we'll save those for another day.